Recording in progress.
What's going down? Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? How are y'all doing today?
I'm doing
I'm
well.
doing well. That's
I
good.
uh I'm glad I got some things off my plate with work. I feel like I've been so lagging behind on what's going on in Wisedome, man. You've been pushing out some content, dude. I got to catch up.
Yeah, we've been going, bro. We steady
You
going.
have. You don't stop. It's
We
awesome,
don't
man.
stop, bro. That's a real one. I don't want to take Chili's phrase there, but yeah, we don't stop for real. You dig what I'm saying? I don't know if anybody wants to come on and say hello on camera. Don't leave me up here all alone by myself. That's not how this is supposed to be. So if y'all want to come on and say
I'll jump
hello,
on.
this is always Operation Wise Dome. Don't leave me hanging here because I always have it on gallery. So I
What's
always
up,
see
Jack
everybody,
Taylor?
not just yeah. So when y'all are distant from me, I feel alone.
I like
uh,
the YouTube video that of Alara, that horrible behavior she asked questions. Oh my gosh.
man, isn't it so bad?
I
It
know,
Hey,
right?
that was
Kind of.
what really tripped me down the road of really learning this stuff, okay?
Oh
is.
yeah, no, I mean we all have to go through that process to but
Yeah, no.
yeah,
Yeah,
such horrible
we knew
behavior.
some stuff,
Oh
but
my gosh.
yeah. Yeah, I even watching that today was of the mindset of if only I had known
Oh no, you did
the
fine.
things that I know.
The cop
If
though,
only I'd known what I did
You
back then, what I do
I don't think you
now.
did anything wrong.
are you talking about the one that Cam just posted with the red truck?
Yeah, today.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was actually from November 7th of 2022.
Yeah, I,
But
I
Yeah.
saw
man,
that. I thought it was interesting. The cops like, oh, we're not doing that here. He kept dodging the question, like, what's the crime? He's like, no, we're not doing that. Sovereign citizen. Nah. It's like, okay, all right, you're not going to
Yeah.
answer any questions. You don't interrupt somebody's life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and not expect to answer some questions.
Is
yeah.
anyone
Well,
familiar with the National Defense Act?
No.
Ain't that the one that came through with Obama?
Yep.
Yeah.
My roommate in college at the time made an organization called PANDA, People Against the National Defense Act, is the acronym, right?
Nice.
PANDA.
Nice. Yeah.
So, pretty much, because he was going into politics, he was pretty much said that act is, once you're considered a terrorist, like you don't get your due process. So that's why I myself, if I'm called a sovereign citizen, I'm assuming they're using it in the FBI terms where the they consider us a terrorist organization, and yeah, I'll do what I can to fight that. But
yep.
What's
Yeah.
good about that though is that I don't think anybody could call us a terrorist organization. That's for sure. I mean, with the
right,
love and dignity and morality that we instill within everything that we are and what we encompass, could never come across as a terrorist organization because everything is putting God at the forefront. I mean, that's how we make this work. To be honest with you, is God has to be at the forefront. The gratitude of life has to be at the forefront, and that's what's so important about it all.
Absolutely.
It makes it real hard to say you're a terrorist when you're really all about love and compassion and saying, hey, we need to come back and have unity again and realize where we are in this great reality, man. It's such a blessing. Like, how can you take that for granted? And why
That's
are
right.
we allowing ourselves to kill others and take others' life for granted as though they aren't just as significant as ours or our children's? That's crazy to me. Oh, I just got to do my job and I just got to make sure I go home tonight, right? That's whoa, whoa,
Yeah.
whoa. We need to make sure everybody goes home tonight.
Hello.
Like, what y'all doing? So, yeah.
Usually the titles of the acts or the bills are actually the opposite of what they do. The Patriot Act, the oh man, there I had a list, I had a good list. I can't think of any of them, but Patriot Act is anything but patriotic.
National Defense Authorization Act as well, right?
Yeah, there's no defense.
They did a whole bunch of slew of ones that was just pretty bad. But then again, all of those acts can never supersede your creator endowed rights. So regardless of what acts or executive orders, it's like people are like, oh, Trump gave the police carte blanche, bro.
Oh
That
yeah,
executive order is not overriding the
no,
the creator endowed rights
The thing is, the thing is that these acts, these man-made, these acts of legislation usually circumvent natural law. It's to justify, let's justify the transgressions against your fellow man. They
Right.
say, well, we'll call it taxes instead of theft.
Right.
If it's not voluntary, now that it's taxes, it's legal.
Right.
Nah, it's man-made law is always used to circumvent natural law.
Right.
It's the
Maybe not always,
inversion.
but mostly.
It's the inversion and perversion. Just the word act alone tells you they're putting on a show.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it has
And I
to be.
just want to say real fast too, if anyone wants to go actually see more, there are more videos along with that one. Part 2 is his crazy driving me to the county jail and me giving him a look of he's insane because he asked me if I had any weapons on me when he's the one who searched me. And then there's also the dash cam, which caught the park ranger returning my husband's K-bar to our truck when he had taken it to his truck until my husband came back on. When my husband came back on the scene, then he took it back where it belonged. And it had been in a sheath, snapped in place. So it's not like it can just fall out of that sheath and stuck inside of a seat cover. And yet he took it out of there, took it out of the sheath and carried it by the blade to and from our truck to his truck. And then there's also the backseat cam of the deputy, the first deputy that came on scene, coming back and agreeing with what we were doing. So there's more to go watch with that one.
Oh, I bet.
How did it finally end up and resolve?
Oh, that one got dismissed in the interest of justice as of this last September.
Awesome.
It is in the interest of justice. If it wasn't, it'd be a travesty. It's
Yep.
I think
Dismissed.
the term
Dismissed.
in the interest of justice is they throw it out, but justice was served because they dismissed it.
Correct.
Well, and
What
it
is
was
justice?
the city attorney that did the dismissal on that one too.
Yeah.
Nice.
They don't want to say this was unlawful.
Well, why haven't you been already filing a notice to fucking talk to them about settlement?
Well, I had filed an initial motion to dismiss. It's on the court records that are also in my case channel too. And the judge refused to look at it, refused to schedule a hearing by my saying it. She was just waiting on the prosecutor. So after almost 2 years went by, I was doing FOIA requests for the court records and everything since they hadn't actually given them all to me. And I guess they weren't sure if they could actually give them to me. So they emailed asking if they could to the city attorney. And I guess that's when he probably finally saw the case and said, yeah, she does have the right to all this information through proper discovery channels. Though with that being said, I think I need to file my own motion to dismiss into this case because it was almost at the statutory 2-year point, as well as my motion to dismiss already in it that was ignored. My plea correction because the chief of police had come in, interceded between myself and the judge when we were talking, and pretty much threatened to send his hooligans after me if I didn't sign their piece of paper.
Yeah, you better sign
I
that
signed
piece
that.
of paper, woman.
Yeah.
We gonna send them after you.
Well, because of that, I signed a UD, and then I went home and immediately did a
Wait,
correction of my
wait.
plea.
Stop just
back
saying these
to-
terms like this. People don't know what you're talking about when you say UD. What is UD?
Under duress.
Utter disappointment.
Okay, under disappointment.
Yeah, utter disappointment. Yeah.
It's fucked up.
Yeah,
Okay.
under duress.
Keep going. Sorry.
And then I went home and I did a plea correction, returning the plea back to my motion to dismiss instead of what I made on that piece of paper due to the coercion and threats put upon my life, liberty, and happiness.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that was a fun one. So I guess the city attorney, when he finally looked at all that, went, yeah, no, we need to get her out of here.
I like
You're
it.
suing them now, though? Are you suing
Yeah,
them
and-
now?
I was about to be, but not even a month after is when I got harassed by these county and the neighboring city back to back.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's the one we've been working
So,
on now.
Yep, that's the Borger one. The county one, my motion to dismiss, I guess, did its magic because they've magically disappeared that one. Have never contacted me since I filed that stuff.
Yeah.
And I've been focusing on Borger.
Well, you might as well go ahead and well, now that we got all the videos, I can just pull transcripts, start transcribing those. But you should still write out something as far as your material statement of facts. We can start incorporating that. And then now that we got the transcript and everything too, we can just go ahead and start pulling for all the causes of actions and get that filed up. Because that
Oh,
one's an
there's a
easy one. I mean, you should start hitting at least on some kind of notifications in relation to. See, another dude just joined up right now too, or he's joining right now, and I know he's got a good video, but he won't even let me grab it. And I'm gonna call you out, okay, CO, because I know you can hear me now. Like he never comes on camera, and he will never let me. He won't let me get the video to put it up on YouTube. And I don't even know why.
Love you,
I
bro.
think I saw him once
Nah,
saying he
nah, nah. Look at,
was
look
that
at.
him that said he didn't want to be on live on YouTube or famous on
You don't
YouTube or
want to
Hey,
be
something.
YouTube famous.
look at Doug. What you doing?
Said
Riding in
that
the
recently.
panoramic view, bro? You got the sunroof back, huh?
Traveling.
Okay, okay, with the sunroof all the way
I can
back.
barely hear, so I've got going off camera to put the phone next to my head so I can hear.
Oh, that's not safe, bro. It's very hazardous to put
Oh,
Headset,
I'm not the
please.
one
frequency
behind
devices
the
like
wheel.
that. Okay, so check it. I think I see some new people in here for the first time. So I want to say what's
Yeah.
up to all the new people.
What's up?
What's up? What's up? I want to say if you want to come up and just say who you are, like where you from, what brought you here, that'd be cool. We kind of do that fairly often. So yeah, won't you do that?
I'm Glenn, and I'm over in on southeast Alabama. I'm typically from Florida. I have a case going on right now. It's a warrant for a suspended license. I was going to the court trying to figure it out as I went, and they got into the sovereign citizen stuff, and he was talking about 6 months in jail. And so I'm trying to figure that out now. And a couple of your YouTube videos recently that I've listened to had lent to how I need to approach that case. So I'm gonna start putting that together and try to lift that off of the name. It happened in 2020 in July is when it started, and then the suspended license charge came a year later when I was moving from out of the house and into another area. So at any rate, I'm trying to figure that out, and I really appreciate all of you guys, the information and everything.
Hey everybody,
Thank,
unmute
thank
and
you,
say welcome, Glenn.
thank you guys.
Welcome, Glenn.
Welcome, Glenn.
Welcome.
Brother.
Welcome,
Through that.
Glenn.
My
Thank you.
people, my
Welcome,
people
buddy.
perish
Thank you.
for lack of knowledge.
Welcome to the dome, homie.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Glenn, once you come in here, you start figuring out what you are, man. This shit don't phase you no more. Okay? You
Right.
start standing, you start knowing, you start empowering, you start living like you're supposed to live, which is free. It's very empowering to know that nobody can come across you, really, truly. Their threats are meaningless. They can try and do and impose whatever they want against you. But again, until you bring harm into another, it's all a violation of your life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Never harming another.
We don't either. Yet we are
Oh,
always getting harmed because we don't want to succumb to the blackmail. It's so weird. It's like you don't want to do what we say. We're gonna make you get in line. It's like, no, bro, chill. I just want to go by my way. Damn, nigga.
Fear not, for I am with you. I've called you by name. You are mine.
Well, I, I believe that in the hopes that God willing allow us to just live free as much as possible. And I guess we're making some noise and doing something because I think we're making progress, and that's what's beautiful. Consistently, people are waking up to the aspect that we are free. You got to defend yourself. You got to know who you are. We are the I
I
am.
can honestly say while traveling across the country the way we do, we are starting to see more and more cars that have no plates on them at all. And that is amazing to see every time we see it.
Where's the soundboard on Zoom?
Look at that. I need a button pad. I know I need to get one. I'll get one sometime. Okay. Who else is new in here for the first time? What's up? Come up and say hello. Nobody else. I know there's some other new people in here.
Hi, my name is Micaela.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I'm sorry I'm not on camera. I'm driving right now, so I don't want to.
Are you driving or are you actually traveling?
You driving?
Sorry, I'm traveling.
Okay.
All right, that's
Yeah.
better.
All right, watch out now.
There we go.
My bad. Thanks for that correction.
Yeah, you know, try to keep everybody on point. You dig?
Yeah, well, I'm from the Chicago area, and I have heard of you in a few of the groups that I follow. And a friend of mine had sent me the Zoom link today to hop on. I do have a potential lawsuit against me because the car that I had was repoed after I sent them several notices about recouping my um, monthly charges, if you will, and they didn't respond to it. So I ended up, after they repoed the car, I ended up doing a 1099 OID on them. And now they have sent me to try to serve me a summons, which they couldn't because of my address. They can't serve me at that address. So the court date, I've looked online and noticed that the court date is all the way over in November. They haven't served me. They did file a case against me all the way over in November. So I wanted to do a ticket with you so that I can kind of walk through some of my options with this scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll
Yeah, what I
post a bio site. Sorry, Cam. I'll post your bio site in this chat.
It's all good. And then appreciate you, Papa. What I was gonna say is, yeah, if you wanna like get together with on like the deeper aspects of getting it all like I guess figured out, what I like to do is if we're gonna have anybody kind of schedule anything, first off, you gotta write everything out as far as what has happened in the greatest of greatest detail before we even hop into it. Because honestly, there's no point for me and you to get into any time together if I don't already have a good grasp and understanding and way to at least develop what we need to develop. I'm just wasting your time and mine. And so the best way to get anything done is to first off write out everything in the greatest of detail on it and just tell it like it is, how you feel. Truly all the way. So that again I can become you in an essence and look at myself in your shoes and be like, well, if I'm here, what do I do? And then that allows us to just work with the technology and work and it's pretty amazing what we're being able to do.
Great.
Like it's so
That's great.
cool, bro. It's like what? Like this
Thank you.
whole
Thank you.
thing is so
I'll
badass.
suggest that. I'll suggest that.
Yeah.
And I can be a little bit long-winded, so I'm going to give you details blow by blow.
No, you should. You should. That's the best way to be. The more petty you get, the greater things I can be able to encompass and develop. So get as petty as possible.
Okay, great. I'll do that. Thank you, sweetheart. Appreciate it.
Call yourself Petty Patty around this thing. You know what I'm talking about? Call it petty
I'ma be
pimping over
petty.
here. You know what I'm talking about?
I'm going to be petty. I'm going to be petty.
Look at Thomas. What do you think about that? We petty pimping on the complaints over here. What you mean? I'm gonna go get over that one. You dig? Okay. Petty pimping on the complaint. You dig? Okay. Be as petty as possible. You telling me what? I'm talking about. I'm for real though. Am I right or wrong? See, the thing is you wanna know why I say that? Because we've come too lax. We've become way too lax. I went out to Kansas just recently, right? And I go chill with Quentin and all them. And they let me know on certain, like, just being around them lets me know that I've just become too calloused to certain things in my life. Like, I've just accepted things too much in my life. That's not okay. It's not okay.
Can I second that? That's all of us. Isn't that really what we're all waking up to?
Yep.
Is the fact that we've tolerated your fucking bullshit for so damn long. We're not putting up with it because clearly we have enabled a mental health crisis in this country that we have narcissists, psychopaths and sociopaths running the show, criminals literally running the prisons and all of these systems. And we're over here thinking, well, maybe we can actually get them to do what they're supposed to do. And we're watching them do whatever the fuck they want in their motto.
And they're
Lana
taking millions of
always talk
dollars
the
in the
truth.
process from us.
100. He always talk truth, Lana.
And that's the importance of it, literally becoming what we want to see by trying to get bills introduced and becoming that part of the people that speaks up. Like, I don't know what else to be. You don't have to be a politician to speak for the people, to rally for the people, to be there for the people, to support the people, to empower the people, to educate the people. We all are. This is continuously spread out through not only us, but throughout our families. And so as we see that transpiring continuously, what does that mean? Well, that means we can be the change that we want to be. It's like, oh, the people in the 60s were supposed to do it. Well, they're there now. What happened? They were all the hippies smoking weed out chilling, bro. They was vibing. What happened? Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, man, now we got to come through and be like, man, it's time. We got to hit. It's time to hit, man. For real, for real.
Wait, I tease my dad all the time and I'm like, Dad, what the fuck? You guys were the ones that were talking about all this stuff. And then y'all went and became yuppies. You went from hippie to yuppie and you got all your jobs. And now you're all like, my 401k and my retirement.
For real. It's done for. They just gave up.
Yeah, I did that to my dad
plan.
too, man, because he kept bitching about his seatbelt my entire goddamn life ever since they put that law in place. But all he ever did was disconnect the wire so it didn't beep at him. And he never bitched about it. You just let him keep having these things. And now we don't get it. You don't get why we just show him our ID or.
Everybody didn't do that. Some of us went out there and got elected to school boards.
Yeah, no, this is true. There are some still. It's just that what I witnessed, like with my dad, it's the non-confrontational thing. Go along and get along. I'm like, really? We're still saying these old things that have basically been a curse upon people? You know, nothing comes without hard work. So you're already set up, but you got to work hard and prove yourself all the time. Like we all came out of the womb going, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be a creation of God, yet I'm born of original sin. I'm conflicted here. I have to prove myself worthy? What? When you're a child, you really don't feel this, but that's what they pierce you with. The whole literally puncturing you with jabbings and such to try to, take away your purity and your divinity.
To try to take away your creativity.
Well, no, they're trying to take away the God gene. That's what they've come out and said that. That's what that's always been about. And I know, like, those of us who know we were vaccine injured, hey, they didn't get us all, but they got us still. And so we're still kind of like taking away these layers and removing, like, they really thought they were going to be able to get away with this. And yes, they're really still pushing it. They're pushing it as far as they can right now. That's obvious. We're seeing it. But the reality is there's a lot more people that are awake and they're not putting up with the shit. Or at least we're trying not to.
Yeah, as much as possible without getting completely demolished by their horrible assault tactics. I mean, golly, they're pretty bad.
An old saying one time asked by, I don't know who, but it was one of the founders, what's going to keep bad men from, taking control of the government? And the answer was the chains of the Constitution. And if we let the chains of the Constitution bind those in power, we will be safe.
Well, the aspect that I don't remember who I heard it say it, but it might have been the constitutional YouTuber there. But basically, it's what's worse than the actual government corruption are those who sit back and allow it, is the good men that do nothing. Because they're more of the threat than the government itself. Because the complicit compliance that they continue to enable it, where the rest of us who do speak up, we do give pushback and we're calling it out. Whereas those who do nothing, period.
What did they
I-
say about the Nazis and how first they took away one group and we said nothing, and then they took away the next group and we said nothing, and then they took
Yep.
away
And when
us.
it came for me, there was nobody to speak for me. Yeah, exactly.
I'm not getting on no damn train.
Well, I don't think any of us are gonna have to. It'll never come to that. There's too many free living people who will always band together. So I think it's just a control of the mind, really.
Well, another
Yeah.
thing I got to say before I'll shut up for 2 seconds is why the Japs didn't invade the homeland. It's because they knew every American was sitting behind a tree with a armed to the teeth.
Straight up.
And we still are.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
don't
it
trip
is.
on
It is a
that.
battle of the mind, Cam. It is a mindset that you need to have.
Yeah.
Well, it's amazing to me. I worked in the compliance and industry and IT my whole life, and I was shielded from a lot of this up until about a year ago. And, I built police stations, worked with cops, so they've done an amazing job at shielding a lot of this from the public. But it's coming out.
Yeah, it's definitely a twist of the mind, But that's what's cool, because again, we're just empowering us and again remembering what we already are. We already know what we are. We just forgot it. We've been taught otherwise, and that's the freeing of the mind. It's like what was it's a freeing of the mind for sure. Okay, well, I guess I want to share with y'all what I got going on. So this week we've had some pretty cool things because Russell got some dismissals. Now he's coming through on a civil suit. We're tidying that bad boy up. Apparently, though, he said they switched it over to the district court, maybe. So maybe he now has to go over to the district court. I'm not sure. But either way, this week, I was working on somebody out in Kansas, and as I was working with him, I noticed something that I had already noticed, but I had read it in reverse. I thought they were saying except these two, which would still be applicable, but that's not what they meant. And so when I first got in here, I'm looking at like the tickets and stuff, and I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on. I'm trying to find the codes, and on the website, I keep going to the websites to find certain things, and it's saying there are a certain amount of pages on the website, but then this is all there is. It's just one page. So like you click on the link to download it, and all you can get is one page, and that's it, right? So wait, can y'all see my thing? Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just don't know. And then so yeah, it's crazy because you can only get one page. They have nothing else. It's like, okay, so then I threw that in there. It's like only one page. And then we're looking for more things that we can kind of cross-reference their ordinance code, because they had some weird ordinance code that was wrote on a ticket that said it was an assault of an LEO. And I was like, municipal codes don't use those. They use statutes, bro. And so again, we went to go look for the municipal code of City of Olvane and the general ordinances. And again, only one page. So you can't, there's no way to access it. All they give you is page one. And then another 15896 false claim and notice. So let me see. So this one right here, this is what we had to do. We on the ticket was wrote a code. I forget which one it is. I'm not even gonna try. I think it was like a 3 something, 305 something. But it didn't match up over here to the section of the KSA, because when we searched up the subsection or section in relation to the actual statute itself, it didn't match at all. So then we're like, what is going on, bro? Like, this doesn't make sense. It's like really weird. It was starting to be really weird. So then traffic rules confirming business on roads. And so what I ended up doing is coming in here, and I ended up finding throughout this documentation with him while we was doing our research, that it does say that they're open as a matter of right for public vehicular travel, and that everything is only supposed to be used in relation to business on the streets. So we clarified that up in relation to Kansas, so that was pretty cool to find that. And then business on roads, 305 reserved. What's it say? 305 reserved, and 1 page not available. Again, so when we looked up and finally found it, yeah, it was a 305. 305-010, it was reserved and we couldn't find it. Like what they're referencing, it just says reserved. 1 page, nothing else. And look what it says. Editor's note. Former chapter 305 license regulations containing article 1 vehicle license and tag section 305-010 display of license plates was repealed. So what they even doing, even utilizing this code then, it's got me fucking tripped out. Like, excuse my language. It's got me tripped out. I'm like, what is going on, bro? Right?
Fraud.
Yeah, I'm telling
Fraud
you. Bro.
initiates from the ancestry.
Right? So then we get in a little bit deeper and I'm looking at chapter 300, right? Okay, we were talking about incorporating standard traffic ordinances, right? And that's it. There's nothing else that they're providing on the City of Mulvane website, which goes to show that they're lacking in relation to the availability of the public to actually know the ordinances that way that they can stay in line. So what would that be a violation of?
Due process.
Most definitely. If you don't have no notice, how you gonna operate in relation to that? Now, a lot of these things we know are not even applicable to us on the forefront, on straight up on the front end. But I'm just saying, if any business aspect either, that's an eligibility in which you can use to really bring that forth. To say, look, y'all ain't give me no notice whatsoever. So how am I supposed to even be able to know how to operate when there's no notice whatsoever? I'll go and look, and nothing is available for me. Like that, in and of itself, is a violation, right? And so what that will do is it will bring clarity and transparency, not only for yourself, but hopefully for the rest of the city as well. You see what I'm saying? Let me see what else we got. Reserved documents, 1 page, not available. General provisions, reserved. Oh, okay, we already went through that one. Oh, what happened, G? Oh, I see what's happening. And then in here, bud, an arrest warrant, officer warrant. See what this one is. I probably already have this. Arrest by officer warrantless arrest. Arrest by officer warrantless arrest. I do already have it. Okay. Now, what's pretty cool is that in most states, and I'm pretty serious now about this, in most states, this is gonna be pretty accurate now. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be about the same. It's gonna be pretty parallel to what you're seeing in what we're about to go through. 22-2401, arrest by law enforcement officer. A law enforcement officer may arrest a person under any of the following circumstances. A, the officer has a warrant commanding that the person be arrested. Okay, so that's the first one. Warrant. We got that clear, right? Everybody's got this clear. Are we clear on that? That one must have a warrant. Is this clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, it's clear. Please, yeah, come on, y'all speak with me now. Talk to me now. Damn.
What state was this?
This is going to be in Kansas, bro. Okay.
Thank you.
Then we have B. The officer has probable cause to believe that a warrant for the person's arrest has been issued in the state or in another jurisdiction for a felony committed therein. Do we understand B as far as what has to be issued as far as arrest being made?
So said and understood.
I could stand under that.
Yep. Not pretty hard, right? I mean, it's just probable cause to believe that one has a warrant in relation to a pretty serious crime, right? Which is a felony, right, everybody?
Right.
Yep.
Pretty easy.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Cool. Okay. And then C, the officer has probable cause to believe that the person is committing or has committed. Now let's get into one. Is committing or has committed. Okay. So it's either in the process or fairly recently soon thereafter. Okay. Which would be 1, a felony, 2, a misdemeanor, and the law enforcement officer has probable cause to believe that. So there's another element on top of it. So now we're sitting on multiple elements here, multiple layers, right? So we have, first off, the officer has probable cause to believe that the person is committing or has committed It either has to be a felony or a misdemeanor, and then another layer. Are we ready? This is another layer. The person will not be apprehended, or evidence of the crime will be invariably lost unless the person is immediately arrested, or the person may cause injury to self or others or damage to property unless immediately arrested, or the person has intentionally inflicted bodily harm to another person, or any wait. This is D, because this is completely different. That's the layer, right? That's the layers right there for that. Because D is completely different. D is an exemption. Okay? Any crime. That means, what does crime mean, everybody?
Loss, injury, harm.
Harm, yeah.
To who?
Person or
another
Person or
property.
property.
Hey, any other person, or people, or man, or woman, or living being, or natural person, however you want to define it. Okay, any crime against another, except a traffic infraction or cigarette or tobacco infraction, has been or is being committed by the person in the officer's view. Your exemption is right there. You see where it says except? That means exempt. You are exempt from going to jail or being arrested by a law enforcement officer. Does everybody understand that?
Fine.
Yeah, I
that's
can
fine.
stand that.
I mean, that makes sense because traffic infractions are commercial in nature, and it's usually "quote unquote" injury of a corporation.
Yeah, civil.
Right. So I think there needs to be a distinction between crime being harm to one of the people, and where injury is trespass against the corporation due to contract.
They literally went through and set the stages and the layers of corpus delicti.
So I just dropped this nice little statute for everybody to read up on, and then there's a whole bunch of case citations below that are really good that kind of back this up for you to know how much protection you really have that's already been mentioned out there. I mean, I'm just saying.
I'm on that section B. It said if the cop thinks somebody has a warrant,
Correct. Well, it has to be on probable cause and belief thereof, right? So if there's a most wanted list or something like that.
Well, to me, it just says all the cops got to do is say, "Oh, I think you got a warrant, so now I can do whatever I want."
Hey, let them believe
Thought is
that.
not.
Let them believe
Thought
that.
is not probable cause. Sorry.
Yep. And let them believe all they want. All we gotta do is invoke that and shut up. We won't. Or just build a record using the Eddie Craig script. Totally up to you.
There you go. Yeah, but nowadays they've got that computer and the internet. They can look it up on NCIC.
There's a small loophole, small issue for us. Depending on what your state reads. For Ohio, it says they can hold you until a warrant is issued.
Right, but then again, they have to find probable cause of a crime, so that warrant will never be issued. Dig what I'm saying? All right, so now we're going to move on to the Cockrell case that we ended up finding, State versus Cockrell, utilizing and applying for his situation. And this coming out of the Kansas Court of Appeals in 2016. Kansas warrantless arrest statute. The court quoted the complete text of KSA 22-2401, including the critical subsection D. Any crime except a traffic infraction or cigarette or tobacco infraction has been or is being committed by the person in the officer's view. The court's analysis, this case involved a motion to suppress evidence based on an illegal warrantless arrest. The defendant argued that the warrantless arrest was illegal because it did not comply with KSA 22-2401C2, and that the state tried to justify the arrest under KSA 22-2401D for crimes committed in the officer's view. The appellate court found that the search was incident to an illegal arrest and reversed the to district court. Oh, dang it, why is it doing that? To just, is it K1? I think it's supposed to be K1. Or no, okay, it's Command 1. So it's district court. So the legal standards. So as a general rule, any warrantless search is unreasonable unless it falls within one of the exemptions of the exception to the search warrant requirement recognized in Kansas, which includes a search incident to a lawful arrest. The state has the burden to prove that the warrantless search and seizure was lawful. The crux of this appeal is whether the warrantless arrest of Cockerill complied with the provisions of KSA 22-2401C2. Then there's probable cause requirements. This is like pretty universal and blanket with everybody, for real though. Like, it's pretty cool like that Kansas has got it out there like that, but this is applicable all over, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, this is truly how it's supposed to be. Probable cause requirements. The court stated, quote, to lawfully arrest a person without a warrant, the officer must have probable cause. Probable cause exists when the officer's knowledge of the events creates a reasonable belief that the defendant has committed a specific crime, but it does not require that the officer have evidence of every element of the crime, but yet alone, unquote, but yet alone still a crime. So the application to my homeboy John Brown's case was that the case provides strong precedent that the KSA 22-2401D explicitly excludes traffic infractions from warrantless arrests. Can't have it. The state has the burden to prove the warrantless arrests were lawful, which they cannot. It's already been reversed and analyzed right there in 2016 in Kansas. Everything that Quentin has just gone through, everything that Sydney has just gone through has already been established. There's a reason why when we went out to Andover and we asked the municipal captain, do y'all make arrests based on traffic infractions? That he immediately said no, without hesitation. Without hesitation. Because they have no authority to.
Hey, is John Brown on here?
I don't think he's in here. He's not tech savvy. Now, number 2, the state has a burden to prove a warrantless arrests are lawful. And 3, the courts will suppress evidence from searches incident to illegal arrests. 4, the appellate courts apply unlimited review to legal conclusions about warrantless arrests as well. Then we have the Buck versus Kuykendall analysis. Case citations, Buck Kuykendall, 267 U.S. 307, 1925. Key legal holdings are right to travel versus commercial use distinction. Now, the Supreme Court established a clear distinction between the fundamental right to travel and the commercial use of the highways. Quote, a citizen may have, under the 14th Amendment, the right to travel and transport his property upon them by auto vehicle. But he has no right to make the highways his place of business by using them as a common carrier for hire. Such use is a privilege, which may be granted or withheld by the state in its discretion without violating either the Due Process Clause or the Equal Protection Clause, unquote. It's very distinct and clear. You see how there's really no point to argue this on the back end because we already know it's clear. So that's why I really don't even advise people, or I don't even tell people or myself really go in there and argue the aspects of my right to travel. I'm going in on the aspects of the constitutional violations to even have these officers bring forth their claims in the first place.
Yep.
Like, y'all violated my rights to bring forth statutory claims. Like, and it's not even a valid complaint. Like, it has no validity whatsoever because it's not truly backed by any of the people, meaning a verified complainant.
Oath or by oath or affirmation.
Straight up. 2, state regulation versus prohibition competition. The court distinguished between legitimate state regulation and improper prohibition of competition. Quote, its primary purpose is not regulation with a view to safety or to conservation of the highways, but the prohibition of competition. It determines not the manner of use, but the persons by whom the highways may be used, unquote. 3, interstate commerce implications. The court found that the state regulations that primarily prohibit competition rather than promote safety violate the Commerce Clause when applied to interstate commerce. Now, of course, the application to John's case and every one of us is that it supports the argument that 1, we all have a fundamental right to travel on the public highways. 2, the distinction between private travel and commercial use is critical. And 3, state regulations must be primarily for safety, not prohibition of competition. And 4, the right to travel is protected under the 14th Amendment. Now, in a pleading, of course, we would go in, like I said, the fundamental right to travel, but I go more into the aspects of the constitutional violations on that front end, right? I think that's the biggest thing. and that's how, you know, we go about it. But this is a cool little legal research finding on the Cockrell case as well. And then there's one more that I want to show y'all, which is the Rodriguez case that we also found, which I thought was pretty interesting as well. And if I do, it said this one. Oh, cool. All right. So Rodriguez versus United States. And this is 575 US 348, 2015. The key legal holdings are that number one, the traffic stop duration limitations. This one's big because we've already seen how it's been used this year from a judge from John, the civil rights attorney's case from that order. And so by utilizing this, just like they have, or just like the judge put in their order, we can see that it's still pretty significant and it still stands within the Supreme Court. So quote, we hold that a police stop exceeding the time needed to handle the matter for which the stop was made violates the Constitution, sealed against unreasonable seizures, unquote. Wow. Can we stop there and elaborate? Can anybody stop there and please elaborate to me what that means to them?
I sure can.
Feel free.
They call it in a Kansas Highway Patrol manual, they call it the Kansas two-step, where they've given you your citation and they take 2 steps forward and 1 step back and they go, do you mind if I search your car? They want to get your permission. Or they say, I'm going to call the canine unit out here. I think I smell marijuana. It's called the Kansas two-step.
Smell is not probable cause.
It used to be called the Texas two-step, but Texas actually outlawed it.
But Kansas is they are notable and they have a notoriety for doing this on the highways.
The point is that a citation should take no longer than 15 minutes. It's been established by the courts.
Thank you.
Right. But they'll hand you the citation. They'll hand you the citation, take 2 steps towards their car and 1 step back and ask you for permission to search your car because they think they smell marijuana.
I do not consent to a search or seizure of my vehicle.
Yeah,
that's any police.
I reserve all rights, including my right to remain silent. I want my lawyer. I plead the fifth. If you don't want to talk long, then go like that. If you want to go through the Eddie Craig script, which if you don't have, you know, it's at www.tinyurl/transposcript. www.tinyurl.com/transposcript. Okay, and that'll give you the transportation script.
Who's got that? Somebody said that it was like the traffic stop can only last 15 minutes. Can you provide a source?
Oh, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here. Yeah. So it's in this. It's in this case right here, Papa. Yeah. So we just hit on number one, which I was saying again. I just wanted people to elaborate that we hold that a police stop exceeding the time needed to handle the matter for which the stop was made violates the Constitution's shield against unreasonable seizures, unquote. That means if you know when they come up and they don't tell you why they pulled you over, it's a fishing expedition.
Sure.
They don't have anything. They're fishing. When they come up and they say, "Hey man, I'm giving you this. I'm saying I pulled you over for speeding." Okay, cool. Write me a ticket for speeding. Need your information? All right, you want my information? That's all you want? I ain't got no driver's license though. Oh, you don't have a driver's license? Nope. I'm gonna have to write you up for that. Okay, you want to write me up for that too? Write me up for it. But I'm traveling. I mean, you can see I don't have no goods here. So, I mean, if you want to, you can. But nope. Just give me. I'll just ID. I'll just give you my name and date of birth. All right, that'll be fine with me. Let me go write them up. That's how the interaction should go in a traffic violation.
Sure.
If they're really wanting to be that so hardcore about it, which it shouldn't even be that. Once you let them know you're traveling, it should be like, oh, okay. Maybe if you're speeding, slow down. But if you're really out there speeding, maybe you should slow down so you don't get pulled over. Right? Number 2, mission-based analysis. Quote, a seizure justified only by a police observed traffic violation, therefore, becomes unlawful. It is prolonged beyond the time reasonably required to complete the mission of issuing a ticket for the violation. Just like Sean said, I think that was Sean that said it, if I'm not mistaken. Sounded like Sean's voice that said it.
Yes, sir.
Authority limitation. Let's get into it. Authority for the seizure. And this is a quote, by the way. Ends when tasks tied to the traffic infraction are or reasonably should be completed. You ain't got no more authority after the time it takes to write that ticket, boy. Damn. Here it goes. Here it goes. No de minimis exception. The court rejected the de minimis exception that some circuits had applied, holding that any extension beyond the mission of the stop violates the Fourth Amendment, regardless of how brief. Oh my goodness. Rodriguez. I need Rodriguez.
Yes, sir.
No de minimis amount. You can get none of me. You better write the ticket. Let me be free. Or I'm suing your ass. 1983. Yeah, we get cash. You know what I'm saying? Like what? What are they talking about? We already found out. If you can't even, bro, you can't arrest me for a traffic infraction. It literally verbatim says that. Like,
Well,
what do
they
you
do it anyway.
What?
It's a Fourth Amendment violation on the onset without a verified complaint.
From the beginning. What? Absent reasonable suspicion, quote, by the way, extension of a traffic stop in order to conduct a dog sniff constitutes an unreasonable seizure. Extension of a traffic stop in order to have person step out to speak further constitutes an unreasonable seizure. Extension of a traffic stop in order to further your investigations for no verified reason of probable cause constitutes an unreasonable seizure. Do you see how this all fits perfectly? You can easily bring that on right into the courts and argue it. Do you understand how to argue and use what's already there for you?
Oh, but Terry versus Ohio. Police officer safety because they're a bunch of fucking cowards.
Actually,
Or like in my case,
I think
there has to be furtive movements.
Well, first off, let me correct everything here. If I'm not mistaken, Hayden used Terry versus Ohio in his favor. Oh.
Yeah, he did.
Oh.
I gotta hear this.
Oh. You ain't paying attention, are ya? Goes both ways, nigga.
I believe in my case, the officer had to justify stopping me, and that's why he broke in my window, because he couldn't let me get away because he fucked up. Because he pulled me over for no reason other than an in-play card reader, and I wasn't willing to comply and give him over the information so he could fruit from a poisonous tree. He was trying to get me to compel myself to speak against myself. And, handing the driver's license over is the admission of guilt. They're
Right.
using it against you. They say anything you say can and will be used against you. It's anything you say or do. If you hand them the driver's license, you're complying and contracting.
Fifth Amendment.
Now, application to any one of our cases, but those especially in Kansas. Number 1, unlawful extension. Any stop that is extended beyond its original purpose is illegal when it's without reasonable suspicion. Mission completion. Once the officer has determined that there was no valid license or registration issue, the mission was complete, right or wrong.
Right.
No de minimis exception. Any extension, regardless of duration, violates the Fourth Amendment. Wow. Y'all letting them get away with shit that's done been determined already in Rodriguez versus the United States. Why are you doing that? Why did they teach you to this in school? They got y'all in a scam. You see how big this scam is now?
Fraud.
That's why we call them road pirates.
Looking bad for them when we come through with our intellectual legalese speak. You know what I'm talking about? For proper son sui juris. What's up, Wisedomians? Number 4, lack of reasonable suspicion. No articulable facts supported extending the stop. The legal arguments would be that the Mulvane, the Andover Police, the Butler County Sheriff's Office, officers, deputies, troopers, whatever the heck you got going on in Kansas, call up your boy Cam and we'll help you. Exceeded the scope and duration of the lawful traffic stop. Breaking John's window and arresting him constituted an unlawful seizure under Rodriguez, and the stop became unlawful when extended beyond its original mission. No reasonable suspicion existed to justify the extended detention. And then, of course, your strategic use in your pleading, bringing the case. So this is just, some analysis we did on bringing some things into the case, as you can see. And then we went and found some more information. We started just drafting up some more things. And then as I got done doing with his, I was like, you know what? I really want to bring this into an aspect of just some visuals too. Like I wanted it to come into some visual aspects. Let me see if I can make this work. Like I can't see because I got all the meeting chat up and the participants. Where is it at? Oh, okay, cool. Is it this one? Okay, yeah, we'll do this one first. So what's cool is I had this thing made, bro. It's pretty badass. Check it out. You like it? A nationwide.
Yeah, your artwork on your YouTube channels is top notch, man. I like the artwork you do for your openings.
I got slides now, bro. Check it. What?
Those are cool. Like all the picture for your YouTubes, those are fire.
So we're gonna get into a nationwide analysis of traffic infraction, arrest prohibitions, and constitutional rights. You already know the right of the people to be secure in their persons, papers, and houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, and no warrants shall issue. That means you cannot be arrested without a warrant or a crime.
They doing it all the time.
That's it. What are we doing out here in this world, letting it continuously happen? And no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation. That means there must be a seal and stamp on that bad boy. It must be embossed and signed correctly. If it ain't a valid warrant, amen. Amen. The Fourth Amendment is very specific. I don't know what y'all got going on here. It's not very hard to learn. I took an oath, man. Okay? So the introduction and the legal foundation. Of course, the purpose and scope. This is going to be to examine the nationwide application of traffic infraction arrest prohibitions using Kansas law as a model case study for the constitutional analysis applicable to all states. The fundamental right to travel. Of course, the right to travel is a part of, quote, the right to travel is a part of the liberty. So I say we got to focus on that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, of which the citizen, in my mind and comprehension and knowing in the application of how I interpret the law, because law is all about interpretation, is me being a free American, cannot be deprived without due process of law, unquote. Kent versus Doles, 1958. The distinction, of course, is clear when we already know it's travel versus commerce. Primary constitutional protections, of course, are our Fourth Amendment, unreasonable searches and seizures. Fifth Amendment, and due process requirements. Can't just go out here and do whatever you want when we know that these are only civil infractions. If there is even a contract in place, because all you do is bring forth presumptions and assumptions in the first place. Like everybody, since 99% of the people out here that you encounter are in some way in contract with the state, does not mean I am thereof.
That's right.
14th Amendment, equal protection and incorporation. Now, Kansas legal framework model case study is the Kansas statute, subsection 22-2401. Again, we went over this, which is the law enforcement officer shall not arrest a person for a traffic infraction. This unambiguous statutory prohibition serves as a model for constitutional analysis applicable nationwide, regardless of whether other states have similar explicit statutory language. The State versus Cockrell case, which is what we went through, the plain language of KSA 2201D prohibits law enforcement officer from arresting a person for a traffic infraction. Well, what y'all talking about? This has been known since 2016, at least on the court appeals. The traffic infractions are not arrestable offenses in Kansas. Evidence obtained by unlawful arrest is subject to exclusion. Officers cannot extend stops beyond their original purpose. Now, we can put this in anybody's situation coming through in Kansas, right? Arrested for following a traffic stop in Kansas. Officers arrest them, in direct violation of 22-2401D. And really all you have to do is bring forth a notice and dismiss as unconstitutionally applied based on a statutory prohibition and constitutional violation. Literally, that's all you'd have to do. I wouldn't bring it through as a motion. Me personally, I'd do a notice and demand as the statute is unconstitutionally applied, or the charges brought forth are unconstitutionally applied due to the fact that, of course, it's in violation of 22-2401. Pretty simple. Have that pleading with a supportive affidavit, you should be pretty square to go. Wouldn't y'all agree? Everybody sitting here, I mean,
that sounds that's pretty.
Hell
sound.
yeah!
it's pretty
stop.
straightforward.
Stopping those Kansas two-stepping bastards.
Straight up, right here, Operation Wisedome. You dig? Hoorah! Let's go, baby. Fourth Amendment, again, constitutional violations. Fourth Amendment, unreasonable seizure without statutory authority. They didn't have none. The due process, violation of clearly established statutory rights, because you have some. Then the ultra-virus doctrine, officers acted beyond their lawful authority. Uh-oh, we're pulling in doctrines too. We're pulling in doctrines. How do you like that?
The little, oh, there it goes.
Now, federal constitutional framework. Fourth Amendment protections. Quote, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause. Well, I'm sorry, good sir, but you're not going to be able to get probable cause out of me. What about you, Troy? You going to give him some probable cause? What about you, Doug?
No.
Sure, you're out there doing some shit that's out there causing some probable cause. Come on now.
I don't do lost injury or harm.
I ain't giving nobody nothing.
Come on. What about you, Joe? You got to be causing some loss, injury, or harm to somebody, right?
Not at all, man. Not at all.
I mean, there's got to be a reason why.
I try to build up my fellow man.
There's got to be a reason why you get your window broke, man. I mean, come on.
Give them a nice warm glass of shut the hell up.
You get your window broken because you don't comply with their unlawful command.
Yeah, we're not falling in line with the narcissist.
Oh, wow. Ding, 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 ding. Bingo.
I don't comply with domestic terrorists.
Someone called bingo.
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 How you gonna flip? How you gonna flip the people that are being as free as possible and upstanding with morals and integrity as an American should, as to saying they're some sort of terrorist, when the actual police are the ones that's domestically terrorizing free living people?
Hey man, I tried. I asked the officer if I could identify myself verbally, and he said no. What do you want me to do from there, man?
Oh, immediate loss.
That actually happened. That's a real.
That's a real thing, y'all. That's a real happening. I can't show his
video
footage yet. I can't show his footage yet, but when we do, I mean, it literally is that bad.
I asked, can I verbally identify myself? He said no.
No,
so,
you shouldn't have asked. You shouldn't have asked. You should have just said, here.
There's situation. Like the situation makes sense when you see it.
No, I get it. I get it. But yeah, the asking is a. Anyway, I get your point.
Oh, it's perfect.
You're not wrong.
I love it. You lined it up. Great. You did your questioning. He should have the responsibility and know how to answer that correctly. And because he did not do it correctly, the process is flawed. You have broken due process. Because what if I didn't know? You are to inform me. You're not, again, you are supposed to instill liberty and justice. They have a duty just like the prosecutors have a duty. This has been long established, bro. It's to uphold justice, integrity, and to serve the public. If someone doesn't know, don't sit here and take advantage of them not knowing. What is that? That's
the
sad.
duty comes before the right.
That's sad.
Hey, it's just like a Lyra's case.
We're better than that. All right, so the Fourth Amendment establishes the constitutional foundation for limitations on traffic stops, detentions, and arrests nationwide, regardless of state-specific statutory provisions. It's regardless. I don't care what you talking about, bro. Whoa, what happened?
What the hell?
That was crazy. Echo.
Could be a raven here. Whoop whoop.
Cops like to answer with a no. So if you can phrase your question so that your response with a no is what you were requesting.
Well, yeah, you can set them up perfectly in that regard. Well, no doubt, 100%. So then we have, again, the Rodriguez versus United States. Quote, a seizure justified only by a police-observed traffic violation becomes unlawful. It is prolonged beyond the time reasonably required to complete the mission of issuing a ticket for the violation. Unquote. If you have a violation, issue the ticket and be done. Do not ask me to step out of my vehicle. Do not ask me that you're going to, you have some kind of investigations or that I'm not complying. I'm not stepping out of my vehicle. I don't know how many times y'all have seen me say this to them because I know better. Okay? Traffic stops must be limited in scope and duration. Officers cannot extend stops for unrelated investigations. They can't go on a fishing expedition. It is very clear. The Supreme Court jurisprudence timeline. Buck versus Cannondale distinguished between the right to travel and commercial use of the highways. In 1979, Delaware versus Pross, random stops without reasonable suspicion violate the Fourth Amendment. That means if they can't really articulate a true, real thing, like if you know for a fact, my guy, that you didn't violate or pose a safety risk, my dude, it's like totally violates the Fourth Amendment. Like, I know I really have one for Oregon City in relation to Oregon State Patrol that I could also, that I could pursue as well. But I'm not. I've got so many I can't. I'm trying to keep up with everybody else. I'm going to need help next week. And y'all are going to hear me asking about that help Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Maybe all 3 days. In 1996, Wren versus United States, subjective intentions of officer do not invalidate objectively justified stop. 2015, Rodriguez versus United States, traffic stops cannot be extended beyond the time needed to address the violation specifically, and nothing else. And nothing else. If you're even in traffic, and can they prove that? Because what is traffic, y'all? What else? It's transportation.
Yeah.
It's the movement of what?
Goods, services.
Goods.
Goods are people.
Mm-hmm. Property, goods. Come on, man. Traffic is very specific. Traffic literally involves, bro, no cap. It literally involves transportation.
The first definition in Black's Law is commerce.
It's commerce.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. I have a commercial driver's license. I make my money on the highways.
In the chat, Willie.
I pay the taxes on the highways.
So when we are saying we are not in traffic, we are literally being as most of sound mind, as specific and as true as it can possibly be. And yet we are being the ones called sovereign citizens, ridiculed in a derogatory manner, as though that term is even derogatory in and of itself. Look at the mix of how they have tried to confuse our minds.
Yeah, that's what psychopaths do. That's what narcissistic psychopaths do. They flip.
Well, I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they were confused like a lot of us were confused. And what I'm going to do is think that a lot of them are trained just like they stated to you in Alira's video that they were trained different. Okay? And I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. But I'm telling you right now, when you mess up, the only way to get out of that mess up is to pay in damages. And that has been very clear, and we've established that as a fact. So, okay.
Here's the problem. They're the only ones that can get away with ignorance. For us, they say ignorance is no excuse, but for them, they just excuse their ignorance.
No, that doesn't work anymore. Okay. Qualified immunity is not working anymore. Okay. Qualified immunity is not working anymore, bro. Okay. I have a 62-page report I would gladly share with you from Judge Carlton Reeves. Okay. That will outline everything that you need. If you ever have any issues with qualified immunity, I got you, my guy. That order has everything you need. You will never lose on qualified immunity again. Nationwide statutory analysis. State approaches to traffic infraction arrests. States vary in their statutory approaches to traffic infraction arrests, but constitutional principles apply uniformly nationwide regardless of specific statutory language. Okay? Explicit prohibition, limited authorization, it's across the U.S. now, and then broad authority if you're black. Now, categories of state approaches. Explicit prohibition states. States like Kansas that explicitly prohibit arrest for traffic infractions. Kansas, of course, a law enforcement officer shall not arrest a person for a traffic infraction. Oregon, traffic infractions are not crimes, and that comes out of ORS 153.008. So yes, if you are in Oregon and you have been arrested for a traffic infraction, please believe you are not to be. Door's been opened up for Oregon. Come on through. Washington, limited to specific circumstances, and this is coming out of RCW 46.64.015 as well.
Where's California on that?
And there probably is. It's just giving, doing bullet points. Come on now, hang with me, bro. I'm doing I got the slides going on. This is the first time I ever did the slides, man.
Yeah, this is new. This is brand new. It's awesome.
Yeah, I put some time into this,
loving
man.
it. This is absolutely beautiful, Cameron. Keep
Trying
going.
to drop the drop on y'all, you did? Okay.
Sometimes you gotta give them 5-year-old prosecutors a visual.
Oh, well, we definitely have law enforcement watching as well.
We like the Pac-Man.
Listen, I'm going to tell y'all something real quick. I'm going to quit sharing just for 1 second, man. I got this dude. His name is Brian Grubbs, man. I grew up with this dude. He was like the leader in our little church group that was like Royal Rangers, what we called it. It was like the Boy Scouts for our church. And this dude went to Desert Storm and everything, man. And he came back, and then my dad became a cop or sheriff. And then he became a cop too. And they kept going up the ladder too. And he's like working for the Texas Police Association or something like that. And they've got like 88,000 people that follow them. And I mean, like, he's up there. And I've reached out and I've been like, yo, bro, like, what's up? And he's like, you're spreading police hate. And I'm like, no, bro, I'm spreading like love and unity, and like, let's educate and start bringing the community back together. And I can't get him to talk. And his wife is what's her name? Miss Grubbs. I'm just gonna say Miss Grubbs at this point. She's a chief at like Round Rock, Texas. She's the chief. So when we was over there in Austin, I literally could have went over there to Round Rock and be like, yo, come talk with me, Melissa. I think it's Melissa. And but yeah, no, they're not wanting to cooperate with me. I'm spreading police hate, apparently. But I don't know. What do y'all think? Am I spreading police hate?
No.
No, you're not. What you're doing is spreading truth, and it's coming off as hate to them because what they're doing is unlawful.
You're
So
protecting civil rights.
And the issue
Right,
with the law enforcement is you got to remember they're a fraternity. Once they join that club, it's like Scientology. You're not a cop. You're not in their club. They don't trust anybody but who's in their club.
Yeah. My wife and I just talked to a police officer not too long ago, just this last week, and I told him about his blue line flag on his uniform, that it's a discretion. Or
Dishonor.
A discretion.
Desecration. There you go.
That's it. That's the word. A desecration to my American flag.
They don't even trust each other.
Yeah, they don't trust. I told that cop, I said the most dangerous thing to a police officer is a bad cop.
I know 3 cops that actually left the service because of how corrupt they are.
So there
That
are some
cop
cops
that-
that have a conscience.
Yeah, that cop that my husband was talking about, we also were talking about the traffic law stuff, and we got him thinking about the difference between commercial and private property vehicles, and have him recommended that he come watch us too. So we're getting word out there to those who are open to it.
Let's get
Now-
clear.
now watch this.
Police are corporate policy enforcers. They work for the state, which is a corporation. They are corporate policy enforcers.
Now watch this though. Actually, whoever was asking about California, I got something for your ass. Watch this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so limited authorization states that permits arrests only under specific circumstances, though. Okay. California generally prohibited except for DUI, reckless driving.
Yeah.
DUI or reckless driving. Robert Massano, where are you? You were never supposed to have your window busted or arrested for that traffic violation by CHP.
That's gonna break the cops' hearts.
Damn it. Sorry.
Can't break the window tonight. Hey, where's that missing slice of the pie? I see 3 items. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why that missing slice is there like that.
Okay. All right.
I ate it.
It's a Pac-Man. It's a Pac-Man.
Hey, we are not spreading police hate. We're holding the damn feet to the fire.
Yeah, it's called accountability. Is all it is.
That's exactly
actually,
what
it's even better than that. It's the people speaking up against the fact that they're treason. That they're foreign agents working for another foreign country, UN and all the stuff.
They're not going to know that. They're not going to. I don't think they're smart enough to know what.
No, I know that, but my point is, the fact
now-
that people are trying to speak up over here and they're not wanting to listen. That's all.
Well, now we're gonna move into the second slide for tonight. Okay, yeah, I got 2 slides for y'all's ass. What's up? Yeah, not just one, nigga. We got 2. Huh?
Look at Cam getting to work.
Yeah.
Not only you got
work for all of
you're improving them as you go.
Hey, man's busy as I.
Only 2, Cam. Come on,
Only
man.
2 slides tonight, y'all.
Step the hell up. We want 3.
Oh, I got it. I got one more thing for y'all. You better be ready. You know I'm coming with my numerology correct. What?
Question before you get to the second slide. Is Kansas in the 10th district?
I don't know.
Can you
Is
hear
it
me?
in the 10th district? Yeah, we can hear you. Is it in the 10th district? I don't know. Is it?
District of what specifically?
Like
I think
how they
it's
have
the 6th.
Talking about circuit.
I think it's the 6th.
Because I've been noticing that they're saying, oh well, that's a different district. That's not our district, so you can't use that case.
Okay, no, yeah, well, they're not supposed to they don't necessarily have to, but it has to be used in some sort of supporting aspect, right? So they don't have to necessarily take it at full face value. They definitely do on their own, but on others, it's supposed to be like more of a supporting aspect.
Yeah, it's not binding, but it is supportive.
Yep. Okay, so the traffic infraction arrest prohibitions, a nationwide constitutional analysis. Of course, the traffic infraction arrest prohibitions. Traffic infractions are typically civil violations, not criminal offenses. In many jurisdictions, individuals are subjected to full custodial arrest for these minor regulatory violations. This practice raises fundamental questions about the proportionality of government action and the proper limits of law enforcement authority in a constitutional republic. Hope everybody's listening, young and old, new and well-versed, advanced and beginner. Learning objectives is to understand the constitutional framework governing traffic stops and arrests. Again, everything is about traffic. It's all commerce. Once you comprehend that, you understand that really when people say none of it applies to me, they're not crazy. They're speaking the depths of truth here that you may not be able to fathom yet. It's okay. I get it. It's hard. Compare statutory approaches across different states. Analyze the Kansas prohibition model or your state's prohibition model and its application and how it can be used in your application to support what you were trying to bring forth. And then we always are developing the practical strategies for asserting the rights and challenging unlawful arrest by bringing forth those constitutional violations as they occur because they think they can blatantly do it and they've been doing it for so long. Okay. We went over this one. What's the constitutional framework? We kind of went over this one. Nationwide statutory analysis, non-criminal, explicitly classified traffic violations.
Cam?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, sir.
Cam?
Yes, sir.
Hey, they've been doing it for so long without pushback.
Damn, Florida's number 1.
Yeah, Florida's number 1 as far as your level of protection. So if we're looking at a nationwide statutory analysis, Florida actually has some of the best protections, is what it's saying. Now, I find that a little bit. I find that a little bit false. You know what I'm saying?
From my experience.
And the only reason I
Lana
find that
was
false is
fired.
because I feel like Washington has better states. But what it's stating is that somewhere within y'all's code, y'all have the non-criminal classification, which explicitly classifies traffic violations as non-criminal infractions, thereby removing criminal stigma and the consequences thereof throughout that warrantless arrest.
So
now, what I hear out of this is actually quite interesting, and I'm glad that I'm hearing it, because I want to do a spot-on development of saying, okay, well, let's dive into this right now, right? So let's say Florida, okay, warrantless arrest.
The thing is there's a huge difference between what's on the books and what's in practice.
Uh-oh. So when I go to the legal state of Florida, U.S. statutes, I can't reach the site. Try and reload that. Why can't I read the statute? Am I getting violated on due process currently? If I was in Florida and needed to research, clearly I am. Let's try this again. Legislation, state.florida.us. Thank you. Let's review it for everybody, if you don't mind. When arrest by officer without warrant is lawful. Well, that's pretty straightforward. Thank you, legislative. Florida legislature, for making it pretty clear for everybody, for officers and all. A law enforcement officer may arrest a person without a warrant when the person has committed a felony or misdemeanor or violated a municipal or county ordinance in the presence of an officer. Now, this ordinance, if this is being put in place, violated a municipal or county ordinance. What would that be? If it deprives you of your life, liberty, or the pursuit of happiness?
Statutes and code?
Unconstitutional.
Repugnant of the Constitution.
Under the color of law. Violation under the color of law.
There it is. But what's the code? Title what?
1983.
Oh,
42, 1983.
Title 18, Section 242.
There it
Ordinance. Ordinance.
Municipal code.
Ordinance. Whoever, under any color of law, statute, ordinance.
Ku Klux Klan
Act. Ordinance.
42, 1983, bro.
Deprivation of rights due to an ordinance willfully subjects any person to a state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights. That means my life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, including the privileges, even though I don't need or ask for any, or immunities which are already secured in my sacred creator-endowed liberties, guaranteed and secured and or protected by the Constitution and or the laws of the United States on that federal level, which is base, or to different punishments and pains and penalties, meaning that I am, by having irreparable harm, depression, sadness for a moment, by the actions of your ordinance.
Hello, supremacy clause.
Okay, so that right there is like null and void, ab initio. An arrest for the commission of a misdemeanor or the violation of a municipal or county ordinance shall be made immediately in fresh pursuit. A felony has been committed. Felony. A warrant for arrest has been issued. 316 arrest. I don't know what is 316. Stationed on the ground in the air that a driver of a vehicle has violated 316. What's 316, y'all? Is that y'all's traffic violation code?
I think it's a motor vehicle code. Let me see here.
Ordinance.
Statute. It's statute.
Yeah,
but it is color of law. It's still color of law.
Hey, look at you getting.
Yeah, it's traffic control. But again, this is motor vehicle. This is all traffic control. That doesn't apply to you. That only applies to those who are in commerce.
I think that may be hot pursuit.
No, this is uniform traffic control.
We
can even come in here and look at definitions.
Yeah,
there's that authorized emergency vehicle thing at the top. That's the one that typically, the moment they turn those lights on, they either have to have an emergency or a verified complaint with warrant, like you said.
We need to put together a list of the felonies they commit when they pull you over with their lights flashing and everything else without a warrant or actual cause.
They got driver defined.
Fourth Amendment. They're seizing your person.
But first off, this is overly broad and ambiguous too by definition, because which person are they talking about? I'm not a person.
Yeah.
By definition. And do they define person in here? Because if they don't define person, then it goes back to the federal. You see how this loops back?
And I don't know of a person that can drive.
Oh, here it goes. Nope, they did define person. Person, any natural person, firm, co-partnership, association, or corporation. Ooh,
Same as the federal.
Ooh, they got you.
Corporation.
They came back and got you on that one.
But still, it's ambiguous. They
How
have
does
to.
Boeing drive a car?
Yeah, how does that dead entity carry on its commerce? Because ultimately, that's essentially all that is. The whole thing, all these statutes, codes, all these things are talking about legal fictions.
Yeah, natural person is just natural corporation.
Exactly. There's no people, no man, no woman mentioned whatsoever.
Yeah.
This goes back to the Dred Scott case and what Brandon is talking about. He did a great show on this whole thing the other day, and he locked it down, man. This whole person thing is a total fabrication. It's a legal fiction.
Yeah, and all these other words, organization, individual. Yeah, that's when he brought that up. I was like, this is the part that people are forgetting. Yep.
So back in 2010, 2011. When I was driving up and down Interstate 5 up in Washington, they had guys had banners that said, "People are not corporations."
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, people, right. But if they said persons, then that could fall under that. But yeah, people.
It was a great big banners over the interstate up there in Seattle that said people are not corporations.
Facts.
That's 2008, 2009. That was being flown over the interstates.
Nice.
That was back in no. Ron Paul days was like 2012.
That has to do with Citizens United.
I think so. But it was. I saw that over the interstates all the time while I was driving to and from my corporate job.
Traveling.
No, I was driving a corporate car.
Ah.
Oh my gosh, my mic ain't working. Hold on.
I hear you.
Your mic's working.
I can hear you.
I heard that. I heard your mic's not working.
Yeah, my mic is not working properly.
Well, we can.
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. It wasn't selecting. My whole computer just freezed up for a second. I was like, what the heck, bro? Okay. Sharing is not turned on. Oh, I gotta reclaim host. Yo, Troy, give me the host back.
You kicked yourself out, champ?
No, I thought I was gonna have to back out, so I went ahead and
made me the host.
Yeah, just because I didn't know what was going on. I thought I was about to crash, bro. I didn't want to end the whole thing.
Sorry, man, my drummer came by. You know the guy you were teabagging his drum kit last weekend?
That was it, yeah.
I was telling him about that shit.
No, I know how to play. Watch out now. Told you.
Where the hell do I fucking turn this back at? What the...
I think
I
you
would
do right click on my
personally
name.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, never mind. I can do it. I can do it. I got it.
I would personally love to see a drum off between you and Wesley.
Oh, I can drum, yo. 5 toes and all. What y'all talking about? Let me get it. So check this out. We're gonna go through this. I haven't been all the way through this one yet at all. I had this one just developed based on all of the research that we did with John Brown's, and hopefully it's gonna come out pretty nice because yeah, man, this one, what I did with John Brown and just how I feel like is really big for Kansas. This is really going to bring forth the class action lawsuit really smoothly for what's happened to Quentin and Kate and Sydney. I mean, it just really comes all the way home knowing that it's pretty explicit. They say they're not supposed to be arrested, yet they were arrested. And Sydney had their window broke, and they're acting crazy out there, and it's not okay. So we're gonna go through this legal brief regarding the constitutional violations in traffic infraction arrests. I don't know how
Cam.
far. What's up, G?
Cam, you just wanted an excuse to come back to Kansas. We know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I mean, it's pretty egregious. I think there's a lot of work to be done in Kansas for all of what's going on statewide when it's clearly established within y'all statutes that it's not supposed to happen. So,
Well, we have an opportunity to change our state, so.
facts. At least those agencies that are not abiding by the state.
This
statutes.
is true. This is true.
Gotta stop it, man. It's not cool. All right. Okay. So, introduction. Let's get into it. See how good this is going to be or how bad this is going to be. All right. So, the preliminary statement. The comprehensive legal brief is going to present a systematic analysis demonstrating that the overwhelming majority of the traffic infraction arrests conducted throughout the United States constitutes violations of fundamental constitutional principles that exceed the statutory authority granted to law enforcement officers. Okay? This is something that we could possibly use in Kansas throughout to establish and allow people to know deeper on what they need to know about what's happening out there. The vast majority of the public do not know. The analysis herein establishes that the Kansas statutory framework, specifically KSA subsection 22-2401D, provides a constitutional model that reveals the inherent illegality of the arrest for civil infractions when properly understood within the broader context of creator-endowed rights, the constitutional limitations on that governmental power, and the fundamental principles of proportionality that govern the exercise of state authority over sovereign individuals. The central thesis of this brief rests upon the irrefutable proposition that traffic infractions by their very nature as civil regulatory violations rather than criminal offenses constitute or cannot constitutionally justify the severe deprivation of liberty inherent in custodial arrests. This principle, while explicitly recognized in Kansas statutory law, reflects universal constitutional requirements that bind all governmental actors throughout the United States, regardless of whether individual state legislatures have chosen to codify these limitations explicitly. The failure of other jurisdictions to recognize these constitutional constraints does not diminish their binding force, but rather demonstrates the widespread nature of constitutional violations occurring daily across our nation. Do y'all agree or disagree?
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Okay. So the traffic infractions represent a distinct category of regulatory violations that fundamentally differ from criminal offenses in their nature and their constitutional implications. These violations typically involve minor regulatory compliance issues related to the operation of motor vehicles on public roadways, such as exceeding posted speed limits, which I'm all about. Don't go speeding. I got grandmas out there. Well, I don't got grandmas, but you know, my children's got grandmas out there. Okay, can you be safe out there, please?
Hey,
I want
you gotta follow the rules of the road. We all know what the rules of the road are.
Well, I don't. You need to be safe.
Yeah.
You don't need to pose
the
a safety
rules of the
risk.
road.
It is very important. Do not pose a safety risk. Very precise.
There's the
Okay.
rules of the road.
Failing to
Safety
maintain
rules.
proper vehicle registration is not one, or parking, or violating parking regulations. That's not one either. Okay, so these two are X'd out. These need to get a strike through right now. You dig what I'm talking about? Because those are not part of it. Let's make it very clear. The civil nature of these infractions reflects a legislative determination that such conduct, wow. If we're getting into conduct now, beyond the safety risk, it cannot be applied. And this is where I have to differentiate. While subject to regulatory oversight and monetary penalties, only on a commercial level, let's make it very clear, do not rise to the level of criminal behavior warranting the full panoply of criminal sanctions, including deprivation of liberty through arrest and incarceration. I do agree there. Let's get back on track. The constitutional significance of this distinction cannot be overstated. Very true. When governmental actors treat civil infractions as if they are criminal offenses, by subjecting individuals to arrest, they fundamentally alter the constitutional calculus governing the permissible scope of governmental intrusion upon individual liberty. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of what?
Happiness.
Got a hit, man. The Fourth Amendment prohibition against unreasonable seizures requires that any governmental seizure of the person be justified by the nature and the severity of the alleged violation. The severity, the totality of the circumstances, right? We got that out of Barnes versus Felix. You can't just go busting and using accessible force, breaking windows because you feel willy-nilly to. Your frustration does not lead to force, bro. Sorry that you must have patience. Empathy. A seizure that might be reasonable in response to a criminal conduct becomes unreasonable when applied to a civil regulatory violations, regardless of whether probable cause exists to believe that such violation has occurred. This principle finds its clearest expression in the concept of proportionality, which requires that governmental responses to alleged violations be commensurate with the nature and severity of the conduct in question. The arrest of an individual for a civil traffic infraction represents a fundamentally disproportionate response that violates this constitutional requirement. The temporary detention necessary to issue a citation achieves all legitimate governmental interests in traffic enforcement. Again, once you've rebutted the presumption, let's say like I come to Joe and I'm like, hey Joe, my name is Cameron Wilson. I'm with the Wilsonville Police Department out here. You were doing 65 in this 55 mile an hour road here. I'm gonna need your license and registration.
Can you tell me what crime I committed? Is that a crime?
Well, it's not necessarily a crime there, sir, but for me to go ahead and just issue these citations, let you get on to court and let you be about your way, I'm gonna have to know at least your name and your date of birth. If you got that to provide to me, sir. It'd be nice to have your driver's license though if available.
So are you saying I violated a statutory or active legislation?
Well, sir, you are acting in commerce by being on these roads, are you not?
Oh, I'm absolutely not. No, I'm not.
Okay, so
I'm reserving my rights, all of them, including my right to travel upon public roads and highways in my private automobile.
Okay, so you're traveling at this point. No, it's not a crime, not a crime. Okay. But what I will say is, even as a traveler, you are supposed to abide by, posted speed limits. And so at this point in time, I'm going to give you a warning. And I didn't see you pose any safety risk to any other people out there, to the public. But if you could just slow it down for us a little bit, Joe, we'd really appreciate it. All right.
I will do that. Thank you very much.
You see how easy that gets to be? Now, guess what? I bet you Joe's actually going to slow the fuck down from now on. You see how that works?
I will travel at a reasonable, at a safe and courteous manner for my fellow man.
You see how that works?
Yeah, I was on a motorcycle several years ago in Wichita, and I was pulled over for doing 65 in a 45. Officer came up, asked me for my license, registration, insurance, all that crap. I gave it to him and he said, hey man, slow down. There are deer in this area and I don't want to pick up your body off the road when you hit one of those deer. And he just let me go. He didn't even write me a warning ticket. That's the way it's supposed to work.
Again, to issue the citation achieves all legitimate government interests in traffic enforcement if it's truly traffic or transportation or commerce, including identification of the violator, again, if you were in traffic, documentation of the violation, again, if you were in traffic, and ensuring an individual's appearance to answer the charges. Arrests serve no additional legitimate purpose and therefore constitutes an unreasonable seizure in violation of the Fourth Amendment. To the point. So for the Kansas model, the legislative recognition of constitutional principles is that the Kansas legislature's enactment of KSA subsection 22-2401D represents a paradigmatic example of legislative recognition of these constitutional principles by explicitly prohibiting arrests for traffic infractions. The Kansas statute acknowledges the fundamental distinction between civil regulatory violations, and criminal conduct. The statutory language provides that a law enforcement officer may arrest a person when, quote, any crime except a traffic infraction or a cigarette or tobacco infraction has been or is being committed by the person in the officer's view, unquote. Butler County.
Except.
What don't you understand about that? Butler County.
They will understand.
Oh, they about to understand when they get that summons. Couple of them.
I'm gonna stand under my rights.
Man, they ain't got no rights to stand on. They gotta speak. They public servants.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, they're standing under my rights.
I don't know if they want to have that deposition because it's coming.
Yeah, Hale versus Hinkle. I was just talking to a guy about it. They have to submit their books and papers upon suit.
Bad. They already got a preservation of all evidence. I think day 2, day 3, within a week, 2 weeks, couple weeks. This explicit exemption for traffic infractions reflects a legislative determination that such violations do not constitute crimes within the meaning of the arrest statute, thereby recognizing their civil nature and the constitutional constraints that flow from this classification. The Kansas legislature's decision to include this exception was not merely a matter of legislative grace or policy preference, but rather represents a constitutional imperative flowing from the Fourth Amendment's requirements of the fundamental principles of limited government that undergird the American constitutional system. The significance of the Kansas approach extends far beyond the borders of that state. By explicitly recognizing the constitutional constraints on arrest authority for traffic infractions, Kansas has provided a model that demonstrates both the feasibility and constitutional necessity of such limitations. The successful implementation of this approach in Kansas, without any demonstrable adverse impact on traffic safety or law enforcement effectiveness, establishes that other jurisdictions cannot claim practical necessity as a justification for continuing to violate constitutional principles through the arrest of individuals for civil traffic infractions. Thus, the importance of traffic law reform and why we speak of it so much, right? We need to stop the travesties. But yet, even in states where it's explicitly stated, we still have it happening. Can someone please explain to me why?
Well, I'm just following orders.
Because it's about commerce. It's all about generating money. It's income for the state, for the corporation.
Well, Sean, I mean, Doug, can you tell me who gave you those orders so I can see them too?
Yeah,
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
If you're just following orders, who gave them to you? Please tell me. Who gave you those orders?
Just
Deputy?
enforcing them.
The corporation.
No, just tell me. Okay, well, you said you're just following orders from who?
Oh, my superiors.
What superior specifically told you to do what you were doing right now?
Oh, I'm stumped.
I need the 411, man. Come on, give me the info. Drop them
Well,
down.
that's what they say. I'm just following orders.
Nationwide. No. Nationwide constitutional violations and the ultra-virus doctrine. The analysis presented in this brief demonstrates that law enforcement officers in jurisdictions lacking explicit statutory prohibitions on traffic infraction arrests are nevertheless bound by the same constitutional constraints that the Kansas legislature chose to codify explicitly. Do you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Do you hear me?
Just because they didn't codify it doesn't mean it doesn't apply.
Thank you. The absence of explicit statutory recognition of these constitutional limitations does not authorize officers to exceed constitutional bounds, but rather creates a situation in which officers routinely act ultra vires, of course, beyond their lawful authority, which they arrest individuals for civil traffic infractions. The ultra vires doctrines hold that governmental actors possess only those powers explicitly granted to them by law, and that any action taken beyond the scope of such authority is void and without legal effect. When applied to the context of traffic infraction arrest, this doctrine establishes that officers who arrest individuals for civil infractions in violation of constitutional principles are acting beyond their lawful authority, regardless of whether they are employing jurisdiction has explicitly prohibited such conduct. This principle has profound implications for the validity of arrests, the admissibility of evidence obtained as a result of such arrests, and the potential civil liability of officers and their employing jurisdictions. Evidence obtained as a result of an unlawful arrest must be suppressed under the exclusionary rule. And officers who act beyond their constitutional authority may be subject and will be held liable to civil liability under 42 U.S.C. subsection 1983 for violations of them constitutional rights. Under color of law. Y'all already know. So the Creator endowed rights and natural law foundations. Now, the constitutional principles governing traffic infraction arrests find their ultimate foundation not in positive law, but in creative endowed rights that predate and supersede all governmental authority. The right to be free from unreasonable searches, recognized but not created by the Fourth Amendment, reflects the fundamental natural law principle that governmental power must be limited and exercised only in accordance with principles of justice and proportionality. Okay? The justice of an arrest on someone who had done a traffic violation would be what? I need an example.
Unconstitutional.
No, I need an example.
Cause
why arrest
well,
would
you
be
hit
valid.
somebody or you caused injury to the other traveler.
If they had a warrant.
Yeah.
Yes, a warrant. But let's just say your actions on the road. What are actions on the road that could possibly get you arrested?
Causing damage to person or property.
Yes. Vehicular homicide.
Trying to run somebody down.
Yeah, trying to run somebody down. You intentionally causing a wreck, road rage. Like all this shit is very serious, bro.
Mens reis, actus reis.
First off, number one, you're disrupting commerce. Okay, we got fucking mail carriers on the road. Okay, government's got a big interest on making sure that their mail gets on time if possible. Okay, you come fucking that up, they're gonna come get you, bro. They're not playing about
It's
that.
got our notices in it.
You know what I'm saying? You do what I'm saying? Quit fucking with the people's mail. All right. Oh shit. But yes, man, for real. Yeah, it's all about safety. Let me see where we at from unreason. Whoa, chill, homie. The Declaration of Independence's recognition that individuals are endowed by their creator with certain unalienable rights establishes the philosophical foundation for all constitutional limitations on governmental power. These rights exist independently of governmental recognition and cannot be legitimately infringed by governmental actors, regardless of the positive law framework within which they operate. The positive law framework. The positive law framework. What's another word for positive law framework, y'all?
That's statutory. That's active legislation.
Okay, that's one. What's another one? PP. Let me give you two. The PP.
Color of law.
Public policy. Yeah, public policy.
Oh, yeah, you gotta watch out for that public policy.
You gotta watch out for that public policy. You dig what I'm saying? Sometimes you gotta watch out for that. Positive law would be a public policy, right? They're trying to put things in effect for a cultural change, cultural shift, a mindset in which they deem is what you and I should all be, right?
They're trying to put a free man's actions inside of a cage.
Now, don't get me wrong. Anything that is a crime is true common law that is codified, and I definitely agree with that in every form and way. But going beyond that harm aspect is thereby, yes, a true violation if one is not in that contract.
Do you have a blurb in here about negative rights, positive right, like positive law, positive rights? Those are things that cause you to act. Negative rights or negative law is things that you don't do, right? You don't cause harm to somebody, right? Positive law is something that you actually have to do, like it puts an obligation on you. And so if you operate in what are negative rights or negative law, it's really just, do no harm is really it. Don't hurt people and don't take their stuff. Those are natural rights. Those are negative rights. And what we have here, what he's showing here, is positive law, where it puts an obligation on somebody to actually act on. Like, you hear the right to healthcare, right? Yeah, you have a right to healthcare, but you don't have a right to enslave the doctor to provide that healthcare. And so anyway, I just wanted to make that distinction. I saw that term. I think it's important to make the distinction: positive rights versus negative rights. Common law, natural law operates in the negative rights where you don't cause harm.
One of the things that a lot of people miss is that rights come from duties. We have the duty to preserve life, therefore we have the right to self-defense and the defense of others.
Right.
Hey,
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
entailed
Hey,
in all
that's
that
true.
is the right to self-govern. So if they're taking away
Hey,
your right to self-governance, then it becomes an issue as well. Because again, administration of a free man is repugnant to his freedom in and of itself. That is one of the most deepest principles and quotes to me. To administer a free man is repugnant to his freedom.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
hey,
mean,
Cam.
You have a duty. You have a duty not to harm another man. That's really what it comes down to.
Cam,
yeah.
I'm raising my hand, brother.
Yeah, I know. You just gotta let everybody finish.
Hey, we've got somebody in the chat. The least of these, we need to bet this guy because he's coming in and speaking a bunch of spew.
All right. Well, I'm not worried about it, bro. We're on a mission right now. So if
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't know. I'll make Joe or somebody a co-host or something. They can take care of it. Make co-host and Joe be a co-host. All right. So then the Fourth Amendment's prohibition against unreasonable seizures represents a constitutional recognition of the pre-existing natural right to be free from the arbitrary governmental interference with one's person and liberty. When law enforcement officers arrest individuals for civil traffic infractions, they violate not merely positive law requirements, but fundamental natural law principles that govern the proper relationship between government and the governed. Such actions represent an assertion of unlimited governmental power that is fundamentally incompatible with the principles of limited government and individual sovereignty that form the foundation of the American constitutional system. Of course, this brief presents a comprehensive analysis of the constitutional, statutory, and natural law principles established in the illegality of the traffic infraction arrests. The analysis proceeds through several interconnected components, each building upon, the constitutional analysis examines the fourth prohibition against unreasonable seizures. Yes. Procedural, precedential analysis examines Cockrell, demonstrates principles, 1482. Standing on jurisdictional. Okay. So the constitutional violations addressed affect millions of individuals annually and represent a systematic pattern of governmental overreach that extends across jurisdictional boundaries. Every individual subjected to arrest for a civil traffic infraction possesses standing to challenge such conduct as a violation of their creator endowed rights as recognized by the Constitution. This is how serious it is. You may not look at it as that, but this is seriously how it is. You're not supposed to be arrested for this, y'all. Period. They're civil in nature. If we're getting arrested, we need all the reform to happen. We have to start getting this codified throughout, just like Kansas has it. And we still see that Kansas is still going against, or counties are still going against the statutes of the state. No wonder why we had the captain and the chief come and talk to us within the next 24 hours, within 18 hours. What? Are you kidding me, bro? Within 24 hours, bro? Come on, man. For real, for real? Every individual subjected to an arrest for a civil traffic infraction possesses standing to challenge such conduct as a violation of their creator endowed rights as recognized by the Constitution. Moreover, the systematic nature of these violations creates a pattern of constitutional deprivation that affects entire classes of individuals and justifies broad-based challenges to such practices. Right or wrong? Someone name a class of individuals that gets hit the worst in relation to these traffic laws and how they're brought forth against the people. What's a class that gets hit the most?
Middle class.
Middle class? What's another class that gets hit the most?
Young males.
People of color.
Poor. The
Poor.
poor.
Poor. Low income, poverty,
Yeah, the poor.
keeps them in a debt cycle. Right.
Men of all colors.
You know that
U.S. citizen,
of all
non-U.S.
colors,
citizens,
of all
non-U.S.
colors.
citizens is a class.
And we know that that middle class is shrinking every day with as much as they've been hiking up and inflating the dollar and then not taking minimum wage up at all. Come on, man. It's pretty clear. It's pretty much all of the middle
People
class
that went
and
to
the lower
public
class
school.
taking advantage
Do you
of
get
the
it?
ignorance.
Do you guys get it?
Say it again.
Get what?
People that had gone through public education.
Even
Yep.
Sure.
college, though, even the college.
And we're a
That's private.
class.
That's not
Guys,
that's
we're
not public.
we're a class of people. Non-U.S. citizens, essentially. Non-residents, that makes
Americans,
sense.
baby.
Americans, we're a downtrodden class according to them.
Tax-paying people.
American, man, what's up?
Yeah, what's up with
Juris-
that? That's
The jurisdictional scope of this analysis extends to all courts within the United States, as the constitutional principles at issue are matters of federal constitutional law that bind all governmental actors regardless of their particular jurisdictional location. While individual state courts possess primary jurisdiction over traffic infraction cases, if they are, again, traffic infraction, the constitutional issues that we always have on the forefront presented herein are properly recognizable in federal court. Each and every single one of you need to understand that you have an action that you can take forth, irregardless of how small it is. They're out here violating your rights at all times. You need to really comprehend that. Why do you think OKCO put in the chat earlier, you need to be as petty as possible? Because they're the ones doing it. We the ones that are just supposed to be left alone.
amen. Okay, so
It's like, man, come on, bro, let me be. An arrest constitutes a seizure within the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. Thank you. An arrest constitutes a seizure. If your lights are on and you're telling me I can't go, let's say I just keep driving and I don't succumb to the jurisdiction. Now you're saying I'm evading you. Yeah, I'm evading you. I don't want to deal with you. You harassing me. I ain't did nothing. What you want, bro? I don't want to contract with you. You're under arrest. For what? Not stopping when I wanted you to. For what crime? Your registration's out.
want.
And in Terry versus Ohio, the court recognized that whenever a police officer accosts an individual and restrains his freedom to walk away, he has seized that person. Thank you, Terry. I'll take it. Y'all say overturn Terry versus Ohio? Please don't do that. I just walked away and got seized, and I didn't like it, and I can use it when I argue. So why would we get rid of Terry versus Ohio? Guess what? Hayden used it too, and it worked well. So I don't know what y'all talking about overturn Terry versus Ohio. I think people just got a bad interpretation of what Terry versus Ohio says in some aspects. The court further clarified that the degree of intrusion upon individual liberty determines the level of justification required under the Fourth Amendment, with arrest representing the most severe form of seizure and therefore requiring the highest level of constitutional justification. Get out of the car, you're under arrest is not equal to asking questions on can I verbally ID? No. Get out of the car, you're under arrest. What, nigga? Like that, you just clearly just tried to establish some kind of aspect of power over me in which you do not have. It is ultra vires, bar none. Bar none. The constitutional analysis of traffic infraction arrest must begin with the recognition that such arrests involve the complete deprivation of an individual's liberty, including physical restraint, transportation to a detention facility, and confinement pending the posting of a bond or appearance before the magistrate. This level of intrusion upon individual liberty represents the most severe form of governmental seizure contemplated by a Fourth Amendment and therefore requires the most compelling justification under constitutional principles. Asking a question, cannot verbally identify does not justify compulsion. It cannot be.
What do you mean by that?
Well, compelling justification. They got to compel the justification for what they did under constitutional principles, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. So failing to not, my boy said just that we just watched it when I was in Kansas. Homeboy
Failing
was,
to identify. Gotcha. Okay. I
yeah,
get
he
it.
said, well, can I verbally ID? Homeboy said no. Nigga, the statute clearly says, first off, that I can verbally ID. Then second off, KSA says that I can't get, no, come on, Antonio. Come on, Antonio. What you doing, bro? Quit the annotation on the screen, G. Why are you drawing all over the screen, my guy? Come on, man. Clear.
Yeah.
Don't draw on the screen, bro. Then they straight up ask him, and they tell him, no, he can't. I mean, it's all over the place. This level of intrusion, again, upon individual liberties represents the most severe form of governmental seizure contemplated by the Fourth Amendment, and therefore requires the most compelling justification under constitutional principles, which they will never be able to apply. And that's why I say it is so important for my boy and all of his people in Kansas to bring forth a class action lawsuit, because Butler County is out of control. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And they actually need to go back and give restitution to all of those people who were legitimately harmed by getting falsely imprisoned and arrested within a reasonable and justifiable time. For real. Or do something about it, because it's not fair and it's not right. There needs to be immediate training, man. It's not okay. Follow the law, bro. It's all we ask. Please. We are not cash cows, bro. For your Mustang. We need to take, what do they call it? Civil forfeiture? Need to get a civil forfeiture on that Mustang sitting outside the sheriff's office. A brand new Mustang. It's probably coming off all the taxpayers' dollars for those illegal arrests, man, based on traffic.
They probably seized that. They probably seized that Mustang and turned it into a cop car.
Based off of a traffic stop, huh?
Exactly.
When they weren't supposed to, when they weren't supposed to extend, when they weren't supposed to extend the stop by a de minimis amount, according to what case?
That's actually how they get a lot of their undercover cars.
Under what case?
Rodriguez versus USA.
Thank you.
Civil asset forfeiture.
Fire, Chris.
I'm surprised you guys are talking about the vehicles, because I just went to court on Tuesday, and I kid you not, the vehicles that are parked in front are real nice looking. They even had like several trucks, loaded up trucks, like fancy as FUCK. I'm not even kidding.
The
And these are all
reasonableness
cop cars.
The reasonableness analysis required by the Fourth Amendment involves a balancing of the governmental interest served by the seizure against the degree of intrusion upon the individual liberty. In the context of traffic infractions, the legitimate governmental interests are limited to ensuring compliance with traffic regulations in relation to safety. The legitimate governmental interests are limited to ensuring identifying violators of that for purposes of citation and securing the violator's appearance to answer the charges of posing safety risks. These interests are fully served by the issuance of a citation which requires only the minimal detention necessary to complete the citation process. If you go beyond that, you're violating our liberties. The arrest of an individual for a traffic infraction serves no additional legitimate governmental interest beyond those achieved through citation. The governmental interest in traffic safety is not enhanced by arrest, as the violator is removed from the roadway regardless of whether they are cited or arrested. The governmental interest in ensuring appearance to answer charges is adequately served by the citation process, which creates a legal obligation to appear and provides mechanisms for enforcement in the event of a non-appearance. Now, the governmental interest in punishment is served through the judicial process following that citation, not through the arrest itself. But they want power. They crave the power over you. I get to give my friend over at the tow yard some money. We can see if there's any goodies we can steal.
My
And
precious.
yes, power we have.
Unlimited power.
He wanted to be an asshole tonight, and I show him who can be the bigger asshole.
I would bet half these fucking cops have buddies or brothers or relatives that own the tow freaking companies.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Yeah,
Given that the arrest serves no legitimate governmental interest beyond those achieved through citation, the constitutional analysis becomes straightforward. Arrests for traffic infractions represent an unreasonable seizure in violation of the Fourth Amendment. The complete deprivation of liberty inherent in arrest is disproportionate to the minimal governmental interest at stake, and therefore fails the reasonableness to test established by the Fourth Amendment.
Here in California, the wreckers actually pay a fee to be in contract with the cops to tow cars.
Wow. The principle of proportionality represents a fundamental component of the Fourth Amendment analysis that requires governmental responses to alleged violations to be commensurate with the nature and severity of the conduct in question. This principle finds expression in numerous Supreme Court decisions that have established varying levels of constitutional justification based upon the degree of intrusion upon the individual liberty. In Terry v. Ohio, the Supreme Court established that brief investigatory stops require only reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, reflecting the relatively minimal intrusion upon liberty involved in such stops. By contrast, arrests require probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed, reflecting the severe intrusion upon liberty involved in custodial arrests. Okay? United States and Watson. Let's check this one out. Just where's my search with Google? It ain't gonna do it like that. Oh, it did, but it. Oh, bro, you're not working like I want to. All right, so I'll just copy you. Ain't no trouble. Get up out of here, full screen. Give me 50 feet, huh? Ah, yeah. We still need to go through Florida's and knock that one out too. That would actually be pretty fun. Ooh, this one's on Oh Yes, y'all. Look at that. Hey, want to go listen to the oral arguments? What?
We'll hear arguments next in 74-538, United States against Watson.
This one apparently is going over the aspect of when they can make arrests based on probable cause. The court held that postal inspectors, watch out, probable cause. Getting into the depths of when you can use that probable cause and when you cannot. It has to be a crime, bro. Traffic infractions are not crimes. What is the case citation for that? Traffic infractions are not crimes.
Battle.
Which one again? Say it one more time.
People versus battle.
Mm-hmm. That's people versus battle for real, for real. So given that arrest serves, we went through that. The complete deprivation, inherent, okay, yep. The complete deprivation of liberty inherent in the arrest is disproportionate. Yep, okay. How did it scroll down more? I was all the way down here. I reflected. Jeez. In Terry versus Ohio, the Supreme Court established that brief. Yep. By contrast, State versus Watson, that was 5. Where did 5 go? Oh, there it goes. This graduated approach to constitutional requirements reflects the fundamental principle that more severe intrusions upon liberty require greater justification. So there has to be a real big interest, is what they're saying, right? To be an arrest, there must be something egregious that's going on that everybody of the public would be like, well, yeah, I mean, we really want him arrested because of what's transpiring and what's happening. But if that's not happening, then they're never going to be able to get to that justification. They typically involve no harm to persons or property, no criminal intent, and no threat to public safety beyond the minimal risk inherent in any traffic violation, And again, that has to be looked at in the totality of the circumstances. If you're plowing through red lights doing, 30 over, and it's fairly late after that red light, bro, you should fucking probably be arrested. You could literally kill somebody for that shit. Like that's not cool, bro. Anybody could literally die from that very easily. That's not cool, bro. That's not cool at all. The
Sure.
simple nature of these violations reflects a legislative determination that they do not warrant criminal sanctions, including the deprivation of liberty through arrest. When governmental actors respond to civil infractions through arrest, they fundamentally violate the proportionality principle by applying the most severe form of governmental seizure to the least serious category of alleged violations. Isn't that the funniest thing ever? It's like you're giving me the most severe punishment for the most least amount of crime or just violation that could occur. Like, how does that happen in a free society, in a self-governing republic? This represents a constitutional inversion that cannot be justified under any recognized principle of Fourth Amendment analysis. Do you understand why traffic law reform is so severe and important, y'all? It's an inversion of what shall be truth and what is. Our people have been indoctrinated for like so long on so many levels, bro. History, on law, on who they truly are, that you're just a speck in space, that you're absolute meaningless, that we don't live in this dome, that just all these crazy ass things that we just can't comprehend or even know. But that you are meaningless and you come from a monkey. Come on, bro.
Yeah, they flip the script on us, right? Through time. I don't know the exact explanation, but little by little they take away your liberties until you don't even know you have them.
And that's based on your knowing of who you are. And that's really it. The mind.
Yeah. That's what that is exactly what psychotic freaking people do. They flip the script on us and hold their ideas against us.
The government is a cult.
Well, listen, that's why they all have this quote that they use. Listen, quote, here I go, y'all. Listen, you have your interpretation of the law and I've got mine. All right. And that's where we don't see eye to eye. Okay. Don't they all say
narcissism?
Yep, you've got your interpretation of the law and I've got mine. Right? That's how they love to do it, right? Okay. So, the severity of the governmental response, complete deprivation of liberty, is wholly disproportionate to the nature of the alleged violation, the civil regulatory infraction, thereby rendering such seizures unreasonable per se under the Fourth Amendment. That is it. Baseline, all it, right there.
Full stop.
Boom. Right there.
Full stop.
Once you get that, that's it. Creator endowed rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, in this phrase right there.
Full motherfucking stop.
You can't go violate a constitutional liberty to bring forth a statutory claim, bro. That's not how this works, dude. If I reserve my rights and you continue to break and violate my liberties that are guaranteed to me through what you took an oath to uphold, that is not my fault when you become liable for damages without probable cause, reasonable suspicion of.
And you're gonna make me rich. Rich like Fritch. Fritch is gonna make me rich.
Officer, can you afford a Bugatti? Know that I recommend you don't buy me one.
Yeah, I wouldn't buy nothing like that, bro. You know what you should do with your money, man? You should put your money into land and building a farm.
Oh, I
building
understand.
real organic cattle and beef for people.
Yes,
and
sir.
making sure that your seeds are non-GMO. That is power. That is enrichment. That is your material wealth. If you need anything that is material wealth, you need what you can produce that is man.
It's a
Yeah.
thing.
Nature, bro.
Hey,
Nature.
and y'all need to understand, it isn't the citizens, the taxpayers that pay this. It's the insurance companies that pay this.
Cam, you missed the point. It's not that I want a Bugatti. I'm putting it in language that they can understand. Hey, if you can't afford a Bugatti, don't buy me one, okay?
I feel. The proportionality analysis is further informed by the availability of less intrusive alternatives that achieve all legitimate governmental interests. The citation. That's all you gotta say. Which is a process that provides a constitutionally adequate means of addressing a traffic infraction if one is truly in traffic that respects individual liberty while serving all legitimate governmental interests. I'm sorry that we are beginning to enlighten ourselves with the true knowledge of where we encompass this reality to be. I'm sorry that we have allowed those and their beliefs and their interpretations, which are false and misleading, to disease our minds, to make us at dis-ease, just as much as they have done over a numerous of things, which I'm sure many of you have not succumbed to. The due process clauses of the Fifth and 14th Amendments provide additional constitutional protections that prohibit arrests for traffic infractions. These provisions establish both procedural and substantive limitations on governmental power that are violated when individuals are arrested for those stupid civil regulatory violations that they say are uniform traffic citations or whatever they're labeled at the top.
Roman civil law, the code.
The procedural due process component requires that individuals receive adequate notice of the charges against them and an opportunity to be heard before being deprived of life, liberty, or the property. Oh no, tow yard. You didn't know they were depriving me? Oh no.
In the pursuit of.
Oh no. No wonder why God-fearing Brothers Tow Company ended up appearing at every single court case that Louis had before he bailed on us. No wonder why. In the context of traffic infractions, the arrest process fundamentally violates procedural due process by depriving individuals of liberty before they have received adequate notice of the specific charges against them or an opportunity to contest those charges. While probable cause may exist to believe that a traffic violation has occurred, that does not satisfy the due process requirements for specific notice of charges and an opportunity to be heard, in correlation with reasonable suspicion of a crime. The citation process, by contrast, provides constitutionally adequate procedural due process by giving individuals specific notice of the charges against them and establishing a process for contesting those charges before a neutral magistrate. The citation process respects the procedural due process rights of all men and women while achieving all legitimate governmental interests in people who are engaged in traffic and those who are out on the roads enforcing said commercial and commerce traffic. The word traffic is commerce. I'm not defining the word traffic as anyone in traffic. It's not what I'm saying here. Like Sergeant Hovinghoff was over here saying, well, all crimes are crimes. Any crime is a crime or a traffic infraction. No, you can't define the word with a word, bro.
It would be good to put an asterisk with traffic with a footnote below.
For real. I mean, it's very simple.
It's very simple to us, but for those who are steeped in their fraud.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you like this: ignorance of the law is no excuse. All right, it's no excuse. Okay.
100%.
For anybody.
The substantive due process component prohibits governmental actions that are arbitrary, capricious, or fundamentally unfair, regardless of the procedures employed. The arrest of individuals for civil traffic infractions violates substantive due process by subjecting them to severe deprivations of liberty for conduct that does not even warrant such treatment under any rational governmental policy. The civil nature of traffic infraction reflects a legislative determination that such conduct does not justify criminal sanctions, making arrests for such violations fundamentally arbitrary and capricious. The substantive due process analysis is informed by the fundamental principle that governmental power must be exercised in accordance with principles of justice and fairness. The arrest of individuals for civil infractions violates this principle by treating civil regulatory violations as if they were criminal offenses. We need to start understanding that the Constitution recognizes a fundamental right to travel, y'all.
Hey, Cam, on the previous section there, you mentioned the 5th and 14th Amendment, but there's nothing in there about surrendering ID that can be used against us.
That's right, because it would make the Fourth Amendment void. Then they can't have that because of Article 6, Clause 2. Anything in this Constitution or laws of this state to the contrary notwithstanding. So they can't make an amendment that violates the other amendments. It'd be contradictory.
Right. So it's like you've got a right to privacy in your person, papers, and effects, and you have a right to not incriminate yourself. But the moment that you hand them identification, you've just incriminated yourself.
It is beyond the power of the state by legislation fiat to convert property used exclusively in the business of a private carrier into a public utility or to make the owner of a public carrier, for that would be taking private property for public use without just compensation, which no state can do consistently with the due process of law clause of the 14th Amendment. See police power. Why? Because police power is what is the last 3 words of that police power, bro?
Not
Chirp.
Come on, man.
Chirp.
Within what?
Within constitutional limitations.
Thank you. With the slow mo too, bro, is perfect.
Taking after the best.
Thanks, awesome, bro. Thank you, bro. Okay, let's go to the next one. Where's the next one? Discretion. Where's the next one? To prize my child partner notice.
Those is good.
Oh, here it goes. The officers of the law in the execution of the process. The process of what?
Due process.
The process of what? I just said it. Come on now. The officers of the law in the execution of the process. Of process. What process?
Due process?
Of law.
Of law. Thank you. It's very simple. I'm just trying to see if y'all are looping with me, okay? Are required to know the requirements of the law, and if they mistake them, whether through ignorance or design. Through ignorance or on purpose. Whether you know it or not. And anyone is harmed by their error, they must respond in damages. It's not will be or shall be or can be. There's no can. It says they must.
Wow, that's a good one.
What are y'all talking about, bro? What are y'all talking about? Come on, man. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop us there on this one. Where did we stop off on this? 2-4?
Yeah.
Page 18 of 76.
Where can we get that to stop?
Y'all want this one?
Oh yeah.
Yes, please.
Hey, hold on. Stop share for a second. I think I sent it to foundational members. Oh wait, I think only foundational members got it. Oh, you might have to tap into a foundational member friend to see if you can get it. Damn. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Let me see. Where's it at? Boom. If I go back, boom. Foundational members did get a sneak peek to this one though. They did get this one up front. So
Hey Cam, I missed the first part of this. I was on my other
this
Alpha,
will
but I'm
be
just
available.
curious. Oh, sorry. I'll yield. I'm just wondering the rest of the podcast from the last one, where we ended at that certain spot after Tanawa left. The next hour was really good.
Oh, I didn't record that.
Bummer.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, we took off. Me and Troy took off. We was on the road. We went
It
right
was so
away
juicy.
down to,
Like
bro.
the transformation took place. It was really good. I forgot. Were you there? Did you catch it, or did you just let it
Well,
run?
we caught another maybe 20 minutes of it, 25, maybe 30 minutes of it on the road, and then we hit the pass, man, and there was dead zone, bro.
Got you.
Dead
Got
man's
you.
land for a good 45 minutes too.
Right. So that would have been at the beginning. You caught it, not. There was amazing transformation, and it was so good that I can't really even remember the whole moral of the story. But I know it's in my essence. Maybe someone else can bring it up because everyone in the
The
group
thing
was.
is, the thing is with my boy, Paul, is that he's so powerful, but
Agreed.
I can't get him to come on my side.
Nope.
He just don't want to come on my side, and I've been begging him to come on my side to help a lot more people because he's able to help more people on this side than being on that side of the fence. And
I
we
concur.
agree on
I
so many
tuned into a
things,
couple of
but
his.
his personality just doesn't call for. I don't feel like it calls for it, and that's okay. He's who he is, and like you will say that in your human design work, right?
Yep.
Is that you just got to be who you are, right?
You gotta.
You
Yep.
got to be who you are, and so he is that person, and that's where he flourishes. And
Can
his
anyone else
mindset is
remember what
beautiful.
the?
He has great quotes. He has great. His mind works in a great, fascinating manner, and I really appreciate everything he does. I just wish I could get that goodness to get harnessed up out of him, so I can get him on my side to start changing this nation.
There's a certain hardliner, man. If we were in Israel, we'd call them the Hasids. I mean, basically.
Yeah.
All good. I just wish someone remember. I can't remember. There was a nugget at the end where everyone sort of dumbfounded themselves into a realization, and I can't quite remember it. I don't know if anyone else remembers it, but I yield, bro. I'll bounce from it.
Hey Cam, did you drop
Hello, everybody.
Did you drop
What's up,
that doc
bro?
in the Discord?
Yeah, I'm dropping it again too.
Cool. Because for some reason my browser won't let me download anything out of the chat.
Yeah, it's a cool, comprehensive analysis and brief, to really bring forth. I mean, what we got to do is really start implementing what we know within our heart and then throughout statutory aspects that they're bound to abide by. Not made for us, but, made for them. We just got to really bring it to the forefront so that we stop getting people hurt, man, for no reason. For no
Wow,
reason.
I've been busy.
That's over 2 weeks old, maybe even 3 weeks now. Jeez. I'm behind, man. I'm behind. I can't keep up with you, Cam. You're a beast.
I just had a bench warrant issued for me for failure to appear when I was right there because I wouldn't identify as the person, the legal fiction.
In court?
In court.
Dang.
Yep.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You gonna hit for what are you gonna hit for?
I just got done doing a judicial notice and demand. What the hell was it? Judicial notice and demand. Basically, freaking having them redact that freaking that bench warrant.
Yeah, that'd be the first thing, of course. Yep, for sure.
Yeah.
and then challenge
And
that
because
jurisdiction pretty heavy.
they have all my paperwork that my status is corrected, and they're trying to assert that I'm a person, so they have jurisdiction. I even put my land patent into it because where I got pulled over is on my land patent.
Yeah, you got to keep rebutting that shit. You know what I'm talking about?
So
You just keep
couldn't,
rebutting that shit.
couldn't you go in there and say,
Hey, can you play out what it was like in court when they wouldn't accept what you were saying? Like, how did you present it? Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. Well, see,
Billing?
what I did is at first I did a motion to challenge the territorial jurisdiction. And that's when I put all of my information in with exhibits of my status and all of that. And then the district attorney filed a rebuttal in opposition of my territorial jurisdictional challenge and going on about the freaking sovereign citizen this and that, and he'd already been scolded in court about that stuff. And so when it came time to go to court for that, well, they took that because I filed that motion. They said a motion is the same as a plead, is same as a demur. So they're trying to roll over and have me enter into their jurisdiction. And I told them I won't be entering no plea. I'll be entering with a demur based on the facts. I said, but I haven't been given the facts because the district attorney is denying me discovery on many times. I mean, he's already been chewed out. I still haven't got my freaking blood alcohol content or the body cam footage of the cop, you know, that'll exonerate me of everything. But so they tried to freaking roll that in and go on. I said, ho. No. I'm gonna have to request a stay because the district attorney filed this 5 days ago, and I haven't had time to do my rebuttal to that. You know what I mean? So I'm
So check this
entitled
one
to
out.
that.
So check this one out. Failure to obey the command of an officer constitutes a traditional form of breach of the peace. I don't know if y'all remember, this just takes me back to the aspect of when I told that WSP trooper, I told that dude, I said, I'm not finna obey an unlawful command. That is an unlawful command. You get back in your car. Nigga, what? You ever tell me what to do? Like, just, what? Obviously, however, one cannot be punished for failing to obey the command of an officer if that command is itself violative of the Constitution. Clearly, you telling me to get back in my car is violative of the Constitution. Like, you just pulled up on me talking about you checking on me, and now what? Boy, it's not how this work. You think I'm stupid? Right versus Georgia, dummy. Get out of here. 373 US 284 291-2, boy. Get out of here. We need to get to the point, even I need to get to the point where we're talking like this to these people, man.
I don't know, man.
Failure to obey a stupid ass command by yo ass, which is a police officer, constitutes a traditional form of breach of the peace. But guess what? Obviously, however, one cannot be punished for failing to obey the command of an officer if your command is itself violative of the Constitution, boy. That's right versus Georgia. Get up out of my face. Talk to them like that, see how they act on you. They'll be like, you don't know what you're talking about. Guess what? I just read a quote from Wright versus Georgia, verbatim, dummy. What are they gonna say then? Whatever. Nothing is gained in the argument by calling it police power.
Yeah, they'll say that it's not in that state or jurisdiction or whatever, but I think you have a solid handle on it if you, instead of relying on the other cases, like you can, like in that case, you would rely on the Ninth Amendment, for example. The enumeration of the Constitution of certain rights shall not be construed to deny or disparage others retained by the people. You know, just because all of my rights aren't listed in the Constitution doesn't mean I'm limited to what's just in the Constitution. Or, you know, what is it? The Fifth Amendment? Is that what it is? No, that's oath and affirmation.
It's called those rights that are non enumerated by the Constitution.
Right. Yeah, that's what
Non-enumerated.
Prohibited.
the Ninth Amendment covers that. Oh, and then the 10th Amendment, the power is not delegated to the United States of the Constitution, nor prohibited to it by the states. I'm gonna grammatically reduce this to a more potent effect. The powers not delegated to the United States by the Constitution are reserved to the people. Okay, it's longer because it lists the states and all that stuff, but order. But if just grammarly, it's the powers not delegated by the Constitution are reserved to the people. So that right there is, I think, a strong element.
The government is but an agency to the state being sovereign, the state being the sovereign people.
I am the state.
I am the state.
State of California is not sovereign.
Yep.
California Republic is sovereign.
I am the state. I am of the highest order. I am one of an American. Like I take some of these things with pride without the ties to what one would say would be bound. Because again, I can always say what I agree to and don't agree to. That's what's crazy. People say like, oh, well, because you take this, you have to agree to this, and this. No, you don't. I've clearly established what I know my definition to be of sovereign citizen. My definition is not what your definition may be or your interpretation may be. I'm sorry that our definitions differ, but you're not going to sit here and tell me what my belief is in the definition based on the context of some very powerful documents that I have seen and will utilize is not what it is. I'm sorry. So guess what? Maybe on my next court case, I just might call myself a sovereign citizen in all of my documents. Y'all want to see how that plays out?
Oh, damn.
No, Cam.
The people
Do not
of the
say-
state do not yield their sovereignty to the agency which served them. The people, which is the state, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. The instruments being the agency, the instruments being the police department, the instruments being the county, the instruments being the sheriff's department, the instruments being the district attorney, the instruments being every public servant out here that is bound to serve by oath and affirmation.
Just like the title says, the people are sovereign. Stop saying you're a sovereign citizen. You're sovereign. The people are sovereign.
Yeah. Period.
Sovereign citizen means that you're a king and a subject.
Now watch
But
this.
I like being a sovereign citizen of the land.
Right.
Hey man, if you know how much that really holds, if you know how much power that really holds, then yes.
Hey, that's cool. That's cool to say, but the people are sovereign. That's what the title
For sure.
just
Of course.
said.
Of course we are. Yeah, for sure.
We're not sovereign subjects. That's an oxymoron.
Hey, I am
You can't
looking
be a
forward.
sovereign and a subject.
I am looking forward to correcting the judge when he says sovereign citizen. I'll be just sovereign judge.
When I say citizen,
we already
you know what it is, and if I need to make Troy reread it for you, you're not.
Both, damn it! You can't be both.
Hey.
You can't be a king and a subject at the same time.
Yes, you can. I've explained this several times. You have the definition of what I believe citizen to be wrong. You see it correct in the way that I see it. And you will never make me change the way that I see my definition of citizen to be. Because whereas some 2 million young men and women each year reach the age of 21, okay? And whereas it is desirable that all of us reach, whereas it is desirable that the sovereign citizens of our nation be prepared for the responsibilities and impressed with the significance of their status in our self-governing republic. I would rather be a sovereign citizen under our self-governing republic, bro, than a sovereign under your
Amen.
republic any day.
Fuck,
Yeah,
for real.
why do you want to call yourself a king and a subject?
Because your
The
definition of
definition.
citizen is not my definition of citizen. My definition of citizen is is an American. And that American is one, like this whole joint resolution is based on I am an American Day. Okay? That means you're becoming up. Wait a minute. I'm gonna explain. When you become that age, I will, when you become that age, you are impressed with a responsibility. You are impressed with the responsibility of looking out for your fellow man.
Damn,
You are
Skip.
impressed with a responsibility to uphold righteousness. So you become a citizen of the body of Americans.
No.
Yes.
I'm not going to be a subject.
No,
I'm
you've
a
decided.
sovereign.
Okay,
No,
you've defined it as that.
Cam,
In any
Cam,
documents, listen.
Cam,
In any
listen.
documents that I bring, no, I'm gonna mute you, bro, if you don't listen. In any document, you interrupt too much. We're not gonna argue on this. In any definition or any document that you can bring forth an aspect of definitions. You can define the words that you use in your documents in any way that you want, just like they do. You are
That's
of the
right.
highest order. You forget who you are. You're succumbing to someone else's definition of citizen. Pity you for defining, succumbing yourself to their definition when it doesn't fit.
For
Yeah.
sure.
Check out
Can
the
I say
chat.
this?
Check
Can I
out the
say
chat.
this? Just let me hit this. Let me hit this.
Hmm?
How about instead of sovereign citizen, how about sovereign American?
That's great, but let's look at it like this. You don't look at it like I look at it. I look at it as what can I utilize that they've produced to utilize against them?
Exactly.
What are
The
you talking
principle.
about? Look at the context of what's been
For
said
sure.
here. I am of the highest fucking goddamn order, impressed with a status within our self-governing republic. They said it. I'm totally taking that and running with it. What the
Yeah,
fuck
nobody,
are you talking
no,
about?
nobody's gonna tell me what I am. If you ask me, I will tell you who and what I am.
Can somebody say something
And
about
they
the pictures I shared in the chat?
Like, this is
and
the
of course
most
they would turn around
powerful.
and smear the entire name of a self-governed individual.
Exact. That's what I'm saying.
For
It's
sure.
totally
Exactly.
flipped. It's an inversion.
Exactly. They perverted it like they do everything.
That's the whole point of why it says
Yep.
sovereign citizen movement.
Yep.
Not
Exactly.
Wikipedia doesn't have just sovereign citizen. It has sovereign citizen with the movement, because the movement can be labeled that, but not the sovereign citizen term in and of itself.
And
Mhm.
the thing is not being concerned about the term, but it's when the judge or officer or whatever says you're a sovereign citizen, say, objection, Your Honor.
Well, no. I wouldn't even object at that
No,
point.
no,
You
no,
know
no.
what I would do? I would flip it on them. Nope. And I would be like, why, thank you. I appreciate that. You have recognized that I have the eligibility and right to self-govern within this republic. I thank you for proceeding with
Exactly.
this matter. I move for a dismissal on all charges, and I would like to receive all court costs and fines for having to deal with this frivolous matter today.
And so it is.
Accept that shit. Accept it.
You should write this
Hell yeah.
down. Send
I
it
love
out.
it. I love it.
I got the significance of the status in our self-governing republic. That means I get to self-govern. An administration of a free man is repugnant to his freedom. Thereby, I'm dismissing all charges.
Cam,
Sounds good to me.
Both ways, nigga. Which way you want to go? I got both ways
Cam,
for you.
my brother, Cam, my wife just
Jeez.
read to me what Roosevelt said. I agree.
What'd he say?
I totally agree. I totally agree.
Talking about anything actually useful right now?
Yeah, let me mute.
Okay.
Sovereign citizen is what we should be calling ourselves. Yet we are not domestic. We are not domestic terrorists.
No, that's a label. That's a propaganda. What's cool too in this 1940 joint resolution is at the very end, it says that they are supposed to, in cooperation, the intent and purpose of this section is to enlist the aid of the judiciary. Okay, that's beautiful. Okay, And then in cooperation with civil and education authorities, I don't know why that's not the basis for today, but that's what I'm doing. We're doing this now in Operation Wisedome. And patriotic organizations in a continuous effort to dignify and emphasize the significance of citizenship. Wow, what a beautifully and well said statement. I'm sorry. I'm going to take back what has been taken away from us. I am going to take back the duty of what an American is in relationship to citizenship. I am going to take back what it means to be a sovereign citizen again, because
I
it is
love it.
impressed with a duty and responsibility to be patriotic, to be civil, to be giving educational aspects, to not be controlled, to live in the most highest form of our self-governing republic, in that significance and in status in which we are impressed with at the age of 21 for some reason, which is a great number because it goes back to 3 for me, so I'll take it. But either way, I would have rather been 18, which comes back to a 9 spiral, but 3 is cool too. Yeah, bro, that's where I'm at with it. I'm sorry, I've changed. I used to be on the same thing of oxymoron with you, and you can go back and watch some of my interactions. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah,
Now I got you. I got your back, man.
changed,
I got
bro.
your
I used to be just like you, bro. I honestly have. That's why I'm trying to flip you.
Hey, bro, I just changed up too.
I gotta flip you. They stole it from us. It's kind of like history. There's so many things that are fucked up with history here in America. They flipped it on us, bro.
Dude,
We gotta bring it back.
You have no idea. You have no idea,
bro. Gotta bring it
Dane
back.
Calloway. Dane Calloway.
He does okay. He does okay. He's not as deep as my boy Kuramayu. Okay. If anybody wants to know, Kuramayu is a godfather. Okay, Kuramayu.
I watched him. He don't have the books that Dane Calloway has.
Kuramayu is way deeper than Dane, bro. Dane Calloway ain't shit compared to Kuramayu, and that's a fact. Everybody knows that. He's mainstream.
I'll go watch some more of the other guy.
Yeah,
I'll go
Kuramayu.
read some of his stuff. But I'm telling you, man, I was raised by a complete sorry son of a bitch.
You're a male.
That was completely racist. You've met me. Am I racist?
No, not at all. Then if you want to get some metaphysical talk, 7 Belmar, understanding. That's my boy on the metaphysical. There's no one deeper.
Seven is the truth, though.
That's my boy right there on metaphysical, y'all.
Bro.
Okay.
Oh hell yeah, bro.
Paramails on the history. Then if y'all want to get on some more America is Egypt talk, then you can go to UBTV. Shout out Uriah. I'm giving you a shout out right now on YouTube, my guy. UBTV.
Hey Cameron.
Dude, America is Eden.
Then I really fell off with my boy Old World Florida, but I will give him a shout out, Dr. Naco Longo on Old World Florida.
Hey, listen.
It's a channel
I
you can check out.
had a stepdad that was a Cherokee, full-blooded Cherokee. He told me they found all kinds of freaking burial grounds down in Florida that they don't want to let us know about, that are over 80,000 years old.
Bro, America is Atlantis.
America is Eden.
America, well, yeah, I know that. All civilization started in America. Hold on.
Yeah.
Yo, everybody say bye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye, YouTube. Night, YouTube.
Love y'all.
Cam, I'm new.